Welcome. My name is Abhish Matthew. Now, before we start the show, आपके सामने comment section है, तो बताइए आप कहाँ पर हैं? Write down exactly where you're from. Let me get to see who I'm talking to today. Also, today we're going to do something very, very cool. Today you will get the answer to the question when your parents come up to you and say, "Beta, क्या मिलेगा तुमको game खेल के?" Because if you stick around, we're going to get you the biggest names, the funnest conversations, and a heartbreaking gameplay. Everybody, welcome to the Omen FanFest 2020. Woo! I know. Please, thank you so much for your fake applause from the stock library. But today we're going to celebrate something really exciting, something that has been considered an underground culture, and now it's pop culture. I'm Abhish Matthew. Let's choose our avatars. Let's put on our gamer tags because we are going to jump off right into gaming. Here are some facts with some fancy graphics. There are 2.7 billion gamers worldwide in 2020. To compare, there are 55 million casual cricket players in India. It's quite big, right? But size this up. Only in India, 250 million Indian gamers. That's almost 5 times the players playing cricket in this cricket crazy nation. A culture only progresses when everything around it also grows, right? From indie music to stand-up comedy to slam poetry, hip-hop, storytelling, every movement has had its golden moment. And now, it's our time. Gaming is breaking traditional boundaries, merging with other cool cultures and growing like crazy all around India. Comedy, cricket, music, just like that, gaming has become a way to connect with their fans. And tonight, we're celebrating the unprecedented rise of gaming with an awesome lineup of speakers. We got musicians such as 47, we've got comedians such as Samay Raina, content creators such as Naz Daily, veteran gamers such as Hell Ranger and Manasvivi. The Omen FanFest 2020 is an epic crossover of gaming and contemporary culture. By the way, this is our first virtual event to celebrate games, gamers, and their badass stories. We got people from different cultures, communities, and countries who've come together to tell you a narrative about how they have leveraged gaming into their careers. Now, what would a gaming show be without any big announcement? Don't worry, we got you covered. So, do not leave your seats, or your chairs, or your sofa, or your bed, wherever you're watching it from, because tonight we'll be revealing the mysterious Omen squad, and you could be the potential 5th member. Not just that, we are also announcing India's first eSports scholarship program. And last but not the least, everybody wants to get their hands on the Omen Crib, your own gaming setup. How you can do that is by watching the rest of the show. That's what I call a cliffhanger. So get ready to talk about careers in gaming. Get ready to talk about your passion in gaming with a lot of music, comedy, and conversations. Get ready to level up. Here's a graphic for you. Now, that's not my head because this guy has a better nose. As you can see here, gaming has time and again scientifically proven that it's hugely beneficial for us, especially our brain. Now, I'm no neuroscientist, but this is what the brain of an average gamer looks and functions like. After all, if you look at it, gaming is a heavy-duty brain job. Gaming is one of the few aspects that simulates maximum part of our brain at the very same time. Well, you can say gaming is like a super vitamin for humanity. Well, that's just one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is us, the gamers. You might not realize it, but you guys are gaming all the time. Take for example, flying a drone. Your hand and eye coordination, your pressure sensitivity, your cognitive geolocation, all of these things that I googled is exactly what you do when you're playing a first-person shooter. Culturally, gaming is integrated within us. Take a look at chess, the biggest strategy game ever. We made it. We fly kites during Makar Sankranti, which has got like a bird's eye view, but with a tactical approach. It's almost like the first time you're playing flight simulation. Who hasn't aimed water balloons at unassuming suspects during Holi? It's like playing Plants vs. Zombies. Right from choosing your friends, to your investments, to even deciding what to eat off a menu. You know, when you're thinking of calories and kitna ghee dala hoga, your brain is constantly gaming. So, to take us through this, we are going to have a conversation with the best of the best. We are going to be talking to you about how gaming helps us evolve and shapes us into better human beings in Gaming, the Super Vitamin. Then, we shall discuss in detail how we can create a career out of gaming in Show Me the Money! And then, we'll talk about our plans to turn India into a gaming superpower in eSports Gold Quest. And finally, we will crown off the night with some Among Us Mafia goodness in Among Us Play Sesh. By the way, I am not the imposter. So get ready to succeed in your dreams, get inspired with a lot of music, lots of games, and lots of fun conversations. Welcome to Omen FanFest 2020. All right, today we are going to be joined by two amazing personalities who are sitting right in front of me. One of them is a professional gamer. That's right, one of them is a professional Valorant and CSGO in-game leader and the captain for global esports. And the other one is a commentator, analyst, and a shoutcaster. Hello Ocean and hello Hellranger. Welcome to the Omen FanFest 2020. How does it feel to be here? Finally, it's happening. The world has changed, but the fest is still happening. How's it feeling?
I'll say the world has changed, but the gamers' enthusiasm is still the same. That's why this is happening, and it's super exciting, and it's all because of this one thing.
Nice. What about you, man?
Yeah, well, it's exciting to be a part of something that celebrates gaming. You know, I'd never thought like 3 years back that all of us like comedians, musicians, and gamers, we all would be in the same room. Talking about gaming or celebrating gaming. So that is something I never thought in my wildest dream, and to see it come true, I think it's a treat for everyone, including us and the viewers at home, right? It's a blast, I think.
As a professional gamer, I mean, the word professional came in only much later in your career. What was the first time that you're like, this is what I want to do? Which game was it?
Well, actually, I was into games ever since, that Nintendo 64 cartridges were out, and we had those Circus, those Duck Hunts, and, Mario, and those Iceman, all those games, right? I was pretty much a gamer even back then, but like what got me into gaming was really when I started to play CS 1.6. My brother used to play that game, and I didn't have any fascination with the game to start with, but his nickname was Black Squadron. And I was like, what is this? बहुत cool lag raha hai, I want to be like that, or I want my own nickname. Right. And then I started to play the game, right? But I still used to play with the name Black Squadron, and I'm playing. And then actually he was the one who came up with the nickname Hellranger like 9 years ago. So like when I started playing, I started defeating my brother like within three weeks. And then I started defeating his friends. And at that time, DC hubs were pretty popular, and everyone was connected on the same internet in the building. So we used to play against each other, right? All the people in the building, we used to play against each other, and eventually in a month, I started defeating them as well. So I was like, now I need, a better challenge. And I, in my head, was like, okay, now I'm a professional gamer. I'll go big in this.
Was it after defeating the building that you thought like a professional?
So we, even in the building, right? We used to go to those sci-fi cafes that were meant for browsing, but a few of us would go and, play there. And I would wreck them, and I'm like, oh, now I'm a big time player. So I started to play that game, just for fun. And at that time, I was pretty much a noob. And in a year, I became an amateur, and then CSGO came around. So that is the time when I was like, okay, this is a new game, and if I want to go pro, this is where I would go in. So that was pretty much the process of where, when I played my first LAN event in Bangalore. So it was, I think, Game God Cups or something like that, and that was my first ever LAN event. And when I traveled there, the adrenaline rush of playing on a stage in front of so many people, and all those people who are there competing for the same trophy, like I don't think anyone or anything could ever match that for me. So that is when I pretty much knew, okay, this is the time now, I'm going to go full into gaming.
Alright, so your origin story has vengeance and brother in it. Your origin story has boredom in it. You're a maths teacher?
Yeah, I mean, guilty as charged, but still. So that is how I actually went into gaming with everything, if you're just going with it. I mean, that kahin connection nahi banta, to be honest, right? But that is how it actually started, because what happened is, I was just teaching maths to students कि घर पे tuitions हो रहे हैं, सब हो रहा है. But then once you are free, you have nothing to do for the whole day. So what I'm doing is I'm just going and playing the games and all on my mobile phone. So I'm just playing and all, जो कुछ भी चल रहा है. So what happens is PUBG Mobile तब नया नया, it's just booming everywhere. So I'm just going out there killing people and all. उनकी crates बन रही हैं. So there's a very good squad, like very good squad जो competitive and all खेल चुके हैं, represent किया. I 1v4'd them. Like मैंने अकेले ने उन चारों को मारा एक बार. And what I did is उन स्क्वाड ने उस टाइम मेरे को बोला कि वी ऑल्सो प्ले whenever we need a person just give us a WhatsApp number, we'll just add you in a group and all वगैरह सब कुछ. उसके बाद I said okay, and then I'm playing and what happens is if I kill someone, I send a screenshot in that group that I met this player, I met this YouTuber today, I killed him with the crate. But then they are like कि crate के साथ फोटो खींच रहा है, ऐसे तो किसी की मरी crate के साथ तो वैसे भी फोटो खींच सकता है, हम नहीं मानते. So then I was like कि क्या करूं फिर मैं बताने के लिए. What I did is what they suggested, like my friends that I have never met in my life, they suggested कि record किया कर इन सब चीजों को, because ये बहुत अच्छा content बन सकता है. But then there was one thing, I'll put this on my YouTube, but then there are thousands of videos जो कि इसी चीज के ऊपर है कि गेम प्ले चल रहा है. Then there are 1000 videos जो tips and tricks के ऊपर है. What should I do जो मेरा content outstand कर सकता है? So I started teaching game. I was teaching game mechanics, like what is aim assist, like physics क्या है, किसी gun का physics क्या होता है. I was teaching that thing. So my tuition kind of like my teaching abilities kind of helped me grow out here. So that's how it just just summed up.
Oh wow, that's why it's so unique.
Yeah.
Then just going and playing the game या फिर screenshot उठा के डाल दो. You're telling them what it means. All of us while growing up have played different games. We've all played games and it's all shaped our personalities in different ways. But now that you are in the professional league, both of you, as a caster and as a gamer, how do you think, like for you, how do you think gaming has changed your personality to who you are today? Because you're an in-game leader, you are rehearsing and practicing every single minute. So how does that change your personality?
Like, I've been gaming for the better part of 11 years, but 7 years ago was when I decided, okay, I want to get into this, right? So, like, I've been very persistent, right? This gaming has taught me persistence firstly, right? If you lose to someone, right, you want to defeat them the next time. So you become persistent. Like, we start from the bottom, right? We're maybe like 150th or 200th best team in India, right? You go your way up and up and up. It's almost like the ant and the hill, right? You keep climbing, you keep climbing, you keep climbing until you get there, right? So persistence and hard work, those are the two major factors which gaming has taught me, And secondly, being an in-game leader, right? It's very important to be calm during pressure situations. So, right, when I started, I used to rage or tilt a lot, even on my teammates, even on myself. I was very emotional, So that over the years has reduced a lot. So I have become a much more calmer person. I'll treat my team the way every team should be treated, right? I'll try to do that. I'll try to keep my rage in check, and that has helped me become a calmer person, and especially it has helped me deal with pressure situations. So right now, I've played maybe over 100 or 200 events, right? So when you're at that event, when you're playing in that pressure, right, you get used to dealing with that pressure. I still remember my first event, right? My hands were shaking. I could not hit a bullet. And I was so nervous that, oh shit, my team is going to lose because of me. I can't play this game, or what am I doing? I should just leave playing. And then to now, when even in loss, right, you're calm and composed, you discuss, okay, this is why we lost, this is what we need to fix, this is it. You have a game plan already set. So that is something that has changed over the years. You become, you almost become ready to absorb that pressure, right?
Yeah.
And then, like, you become a better person in general, right? So now when I'm under a pressure situation, even in real life scenario, I don't crumble. I'll always think of logical solutions, or what are the possibilities, and what I can do to fix or make it the best, right? So that's pretty much about it.
That's actually great. Gaming has made you persistent, great leader. Gaming has made you into a personality that finds out entertaining things to put through. I, by the way, learned all the history I know because of Age of Empires. So all I'm trying to say is that it has made me a better human as well. Now there's enough research out there to tell you that if you're a gamer, your social skills are really good. But today I'm going to be introducing you to somebody who used gaming to get to Harvard, and from a shy person went to become one of the most viewed and most loved person in this world. It gives me a lot of pleasure to bring to you none other than Nas Daily.
I think they hate me. What's up, guys? How are you?
We're good. How are you?
I'm alive. I'm alive and kicking. I feel like I'm back to gaming life, just talking to three guys.
That's actually pretty nice. That's actually how the gamers, just go with everything.
Yeah. Nas, thank you so much for joining us. We've been very excited to meet you, and thank you so much for being patient with us. I had no idea. I knew about you a lot because of your work, but I had no idea about gaming. How were you introduced to the world of gaming?
Oh, dude, I think, I think we may have, like, all of us, we have similar backgrounds, right? Like, my dad bought me a PC, the dial-up stuff, a PC, and then because I don't have a credit card, I don't have any way to pay money on the internet. The internet was not a thing back then. You just have to download every single free game and only play the free games. Then I got into a lot of different games, and one of them was, I don't know if you guys know this game. It's called America's Army. It is insane. Do you know that game?
No. What is it about? Is it a first-person shooter? What is it?
That really disappoints me because it's not very popular. So this is what's crazy about this, okay? This is a game developed by actual US Army soldiers. So the soldiers, the software engineers would build a game and then they would distribute it for free. And then that game is so realistic that anyone that does really well in that game, they would try to hire and bring them as a soldier for the US Army. So it's kind of like a training game for soldiers.
It's like flight simulation, but for like the military.
Yeah.
Really? Does that game exist
Wow.
even today? Do you play it?
I think it still does. It's crazy. So people would get like called up, who's good. So the game is really realistic. And that's why I fell in love with it.
And do you think playing America's Army, how did that impact you? Like, how did that make you into who you are today?
So I'm sure a lot of us, see it like feel this way. But at least for me, like America's Army was, first of all, like a lesson in like life. You're introduced to like politics, war, comradeship, like since the early age, you kind of like understand, oh my God, like people kill each other and we need to fix it. So that was a great lesson that a book is not enough. The second reason why I love what I got from gaming is I made friends. Growing up, I had no friends. Forget all the followers on the internet. It doesn't really count. I genuinely didn't have friends for tens of years. And on the internet, I met a couple of guys in the UK and in Wisconsin, literally Wisconsin and Manchester. And they're like 30 years older than me.
So you made friends with a lot of people across the world because of gaming. And do you think because of, like for me, playing Empire Earth really defined, or Age of Mythology defined what a hero is and the rest of the characters are. So I kind of understood the importance of skill building. For example, even in Command and Conquer. So was there anything that you think as a gaming, as a strategy, you have inculcated into your videos and the work that you do?
Yeah, I think, honestly, like friendship. Like I learned how to be friends with people through the games. Like what it means to like support your colleague, what it means to like literally put your life on the line to go get that kill shot, friendship is one, but the next thing, honestly, is English. Like the fact that I speak English right now did not come from English books. My mom doesn't speak English. My dad doesn't speak English. My uncles don't speak English. My friends don't speak English back home. The main reason why I learned English is because of my friends in this clan that you join the video game, and they teach you everything about English, the good and the bad. And
but the thing that really surprised me, and something that I think all of us were discussing about and wanted to know, was how gaming helped you get into Harvard, how you were able to take that leap in. Can you tell us a little bit more? Maybe for the people who are watching, they're like, oh, if he did it this way, there's hope for us.
Playing 1 million video games on America's Army, shoot that guy, shoot that person, boom, 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 boom. You develop confidence and English. And because I had the English skills, I could literally apply to Harvard. And they gave me a full scholarship. I didn't have to pay anything. And that really was the beginning of Nas Daily. Without playing video games, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I don't think any of you guys would be where you are today.
Let's say the gaming Nas, is it the same as the one we're speaking to right now? Or is there a hood that comes off and you're like, oh, I'm gonna take everybody down?
There is a slight dark side to me.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it. I knew that is a dark side. Boom.
And you know what? You guys make it come out. You're making it. If we talk for another hour, it'll come out. There's a side of me that just wants to win the game. There's a side of me that just wants to get a headshot, just wants to just get that adrenaline rush and just do something. But with Nas Daily, we try to be as nice as possible and as kind as possible. But in reality, really, it's if you grow up in a closed community, you kind of think you are right and everybody around you is wrong. And when it came with like gaming, getting to know a war veteran in America and making him your friend, and then getting to know a paramedic in the UK, and then a waiter in Amsterdam, and then a physicist in Finland, all playing video games together. That's like, it opens your mind to the fact that humanity is amazing and humanity is diverse.
So you've made a lot of friends. You have you proved that gaming is a force for good. You've also taught that. You've also said that through gaming, the communication that it gets established between different people enables you to explore the world more. There are lots of fans of yours here, and a lot of them are gamers. A lot of them are people who are, in the threshold of should I not. So if there's something you could tell all your fans here in India about gaming, and what is the message you would like to share with the gamers?
So look, that's such an interesting question, because every time I got on America's Army and Call of Duty and Counter-Strike, every time I got to play that game, my dad would tell me, stop playing video games, go read a book. And I would always tell my dad, Dad, I swear to God, this game helps me more than the book. It helps me a lot. And I'm so sad that you cannot understand it or see it. And, 10 years later, now he's the biggest fan of Nas Daily. And he's like, yeah, play more video games. So my advice to everyone watching this would say, play the right games. Like, I'm not a fan of every game. And I'm very upfront about this. Not every game is good for you. But there's a million games out there where you can make friends, develop your confidence, develop your language skills, your teammate skills, your everything. And I've always been a fan of being strategic with everything I do in life. I knew I wanted to be here now when I was 15. And the best way to get to where I am now, if you're 15, honestly, is to make friends in a video game.
Awesome. Nas, this is incredible. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you so much for telling us your entire journey with gaming. And thank you so much for telling everybody about what they should do and why gaming is important. Just 1 second. Mama, I am talking to you. Gaming is good, but when it's on the phone to kill time because you don't want to talk to Pa, not good. I've got other recommendations. You got XCOM, we got Age of Empire, we got Empire Earth. Learn something about history.
Nice.
Thank you so much, Nas, for joining us. Once again, okay, ready? On the count of 3, 2, 1. Give it up for Nas, everybody! Yay!
Great to meet you. I think we'd be great friends if we met in real life, and hopefully we can do that one day. Keep up the great work.
Sure. Thank you. I'll see you in America's Army now. Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, that was Nas. This was an incredible conversation that we had where we were trying to find out everything good about gaming and how Nas is where he's at and how gaming helped out. Good, the fact that our parents, we are parentally approved in gaming, right? It's very lucky for us. Chalo, समय आ चुका है to bring on screen somebody who has blended the world of streaming, gaming and comedy so effortlessly. And he is the reason my Wikipedia is going to get blocked for sure. He dabbles with the ancient game of Shatranj. Ladies, gentlemen and others, let's give it up for Shatranj ke khiladi, Samay Rana!
Hey.
Hello. Thank you for having me here. Kaise ho?
We're very good, man. Thank you so much for joining. Hell Ranger and Ocean, say hi.
What's up?
Hello.
Hey, hello.
Samay, thanks for joining us, man. ये थोड़ा वो emotional moment हो रहा है मेरे लिए because earlier Samay used to be a purist stand-up comedian, बहुत pure तरीके से. अब अब हमने विदा करके आपको दे दिया है कि प्लीज टेक केयर ऑफ हमारा अनमोल रतन गेम कॉमेडी इंडस्ट्री से गेमिंग इंडस्ट्री में आ चुका है ये तो मतलब टीका लगाना पड़ेगा सर आप पे dude how was this journey but I have seen this journey from like how it started can you please tell them how it started off and why it happened
हम लोग तो सब स्टैंड अप ही कर रहे थे यार फिर हमें पता चला कि अब नहीं कर सकते हमने बोला क्या करें फिर कुछ तो करें तो ऐसे बिकॉज वी आर स्टैंड अप कॉमेडियंस वी वांट अटेंशन बचपन से अटेंशन नहीं मिला तो अब हमें चाहिए तो दैट्स आवर एंटायर गोल तो इसलिए स्ट्रीमिंग मैंने देखा तन्मय एंड ऑल दे रिकमेंडेड टू मी इनफैक्ट गाइस ओशन हेलरेजर डू यू नो मैंने जब अपना सेटअप खरीदा था मेरे को खरीदना भी नहीं था मैं अभिष से कर गया था चिल करने और अभिष अपने लिए सेटअप खरीद रहा था स्ट्रीमिंग के लिए तो मैंने कहा ठीक है मैं भी खरीद लेता हूँ तो मैंने खरीद लिया मैंने शुरू कर लिया अभिष का अभी तक नहीं शुरू हुआ स्ट्रीमिंग
we know who is the lazy one out here in the panel.
Okay. I am the lazy one. Okay.
अभी HP Omen का FanFest ही स्ट्रीम कर रहा है बस और कुछ नहीं कर रहा है
यार अरे it's like समय I'm waiting for the right time.
Yeah.
But for Samay, we did not waste any time. You immediately went on and you started streaming.
Bro, my name is Samay, bro.
What did I say?
No, I mean, how can I waste any time? I just took the correct Samay and just I striked. You had everything, man.
Samay rahe na rahe.
Yeah, I still, by the way, tech-wise, I think I'm very... Deख, Samay, sab connected hai. Sab's connected hai. But like in your case, you found your calling. You were like... And how did you figure chess, you want to do chess when everybody was, playing Among Us, they were playing Fall Guys, all of that. How did you figure this is your niche?
मैंने बहुत पहले कहीं तो सुना था ये किसी के इंटरव्यू में मैं बहुत इंटरव्यू देखता हूँ सन ऑफ अ बीच बहुत देखता हूँ मैं बहुत फेवरेट है मेरा वो शो तो उसमें मैंने देखा था कि बिस्वा ने बोला था कि नोबडी इज स्पेशल अगर आपको कुछ पसंद है तो आप जैसे 10,000 लोग मिनिमम है बिकॉज दिस इज अ फैंटेसी वर्ल्ड की एवरीवन इज स्पेशल कोई स्पेशल नहीं है भाई कोई नहीं है सब सेम है बस फिंगरप्रिंट स्पेशल है सबके पास तो इफ आई लाइक टू डू समथिंग देयर विल बी एटलीस्ट 10,000 पीपल लाइक मी हु लाइक टू सी और लाइक टू डू दैट चाहे वो कुछ भी हो तो अगर मैंने सोचा कि ठीक है आई स्टार्ट विथ वॉट एवर पीपल आर लाइकिंग बट मेरे को उसमें कंफर्ट नहीं हो रहा था मेरे को लग रहा था कि ओके सो दिस इज अ कन्वेंशनल वे टू डू इट सो आई हैव टू डू इट लाइक दिस पर वही तो नहीं करना है मेरे को तो आई वाज लाइक लेट मी डू समथिंग दैट आई रियली लाइक जनता जिसको देखना होगा वो आएगा एंड देयर आर एटलीस्ट पीपल 10,000 लोग तो है मेरे जैसे तो मैंने चेस से शुरू किया तो पहले कुछ वॉचिंग नहीं आती थी 40-50 लोग देखते थे मेरे को एंड आई वाज लाइक ठीक है होगा एक दिन ग्रो होगा एंड दैट्स हाउ आई जस्ट स्टार्टेड मैन आई मीन एंड आई डोंट थिंक कोई चेस स्ट्रीम कर रहा था आई मीन ओशन एंड हरेजा कैन टेल मी दैट बेटर कोई चेस आपने कभी देखा कोई चेस स्ट्रीम कर रहा हो
No, never. Like,
I think only
he was the
Vidit
first
को
one to
मैंने
bring
करते हुए but apart from you I don't think anybody was streaming chess
yeah और अभी it's like a lot of people are streaming chess and it's पता नहीं कैसे हो गया बस वो हमने it's like a butterfly effect right तुम कुछ करो ऐसे and फिर it just something random happens after like a year but Abhi still doesn't start streaming.
Well, you know what? We'll get. Wait, hold on. Wait, why you attack him? Wait.
The butterfly never reached him.
Yeah, ये butterfly का wing कभी यहाँ तक ऐसे हवा फट किया नहीं. Gaming has changed your life, right? Obviously, but could you tell us a little bit about how your personality has changed for the better because you took that gaming step?
I have become a very much more open-minded person. I feel like you तो know me, Abhish. How most comedians. प्योर एकदम स्टैंड अप ही लिखना है और कुछ नहीं करना है जोक के पीछे भागना है वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड देयर हैज टू बी अ रीजन फॉर अ जोक ऐसे कुछ बकवास जोक नहीं करना है ऐसे बट बिकॉज ऑफ द लॉकडाउन सिंस आई कुडंट गो ऑन स्टेज आई रियलाइज दैट आई एम अ क्रिएटिव पर्सन फर्स्ट एंड अ स्टैंड अप कॉमेडियन आफ्टर दैट तो मेरी क्रिएटिविटी और भी कहीं से बाहर आ सकती है डजंट हैव टू ओनली बी स्टैंड अप so that's how I have now started respecting every creator in a way कि यार क्रिएटिव तो ये भी है पर इसका कुछ और तरीका है क्रिएटिविटी निकालने का है ना तो that is how I think I have become more open minded मैं किसी भी क्रिएटर को देखता हूँ अभी and I appreciate कि भाई इसमें कुछ तो सही है इसलिए ये इतना he has this audience or she has this audience so that's
this is really good by the way for because a lot of people who are from the gaming industry as a stand up comedian right अपने को वो artist वाले इसमें आता है कि oh it needs to be exactly like this but Samay has crossed that over because also Samay as that time as a comedian was purist I think you have tasted what it is to expand your horizons and now you're like acha abhi now just keep expanding more
मतलब वो स्टैंड अप भी करेंगे पर ये भी करेंगे, मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि स्टैंड अप कर रहा है वो ज्यादा बढ़िया है, जो गेम खेल रहा है वो ज्यादा बढ़िया है, दोनों अपने अपने में बढ़िया है, एंड व्हाटएवर यू फील यू डू एंड जस्ट चिल.
This is kind of a good thing because like he is actually at that bridge, he's living both the lives simultaneously and he understands कि क्या चीज है, कैसे है, किसका अच्छा क्या है, किसका अच्छा क्या है, and he's just trying to calculate हर चीज का best and it's the best that he delivers in that thing. So that's I would say one of the best things.
Now, Samay, I have a question for you. Now, because you're also like a stand-up comedian, right? So now
I'm you're not
forgetting that, right? No. I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
Now.
Is there anything? My thing is that as a stand-up comedian, generally, I don't know if you know, but like we look at everything, we're observing everything, noticing it, and keeping it, and knowing the punchlines that we're going to deliver it later. Has gaming impacted that creativity? For example, earlier we used to think set up punchlines and formulate. And now that your brain is opened up to this, have you found new ways of putting that back into stand-up?
Yeah. I think because you're live streaming, you require, at least I am मैं हर 2 मिनट में कुछ ना कुछ फनी करना है, क्योंकि that's my thing on my stream, because that's who I am. मेरे को हर बार कुछ ना कुछ करना है टाइम पास, and it's I think similar to very stand-up because वो जो रिएक्शन है, जैसे हम लोग जब स्टेज पे रहते हैं, हम जोक मारते हैं, लाफ आता है वहां से, तो जब तुम स्ट्रीम पे कुछ फनी करते हो तो चैट में लाफिंग इमोजी आ जाते हैं, तो इट्स द सेम थिंग ओवर देयर. सो आई हैव बिकम मोर फ्री एज अ पर्सन, बिकॉज अब मैं बहुत इन द मोमेंट में जोक मार देता हूँ कुछ, मैं बहुत कंफर्टेबल हो गया हूँ अपने साथ, एंड आई थिंक नाउ व्हेन आई विल गो ऑन स्टेज इन डिसम्बर, आई विल बी मोर कंफर्टेबल ऑन स्टेज. आई थिंक आई विल बी मोर और मोर ऑफ मी. मैं पहले, नाउ दैट आई लुक बैक एट माय कॉमिक्स एंड परफॉर्मेंस, आई एम लाइक यार ये नहीं हूँ मैं, यार ये नहीं हूँ मैं. You always after every year you grow as you become a different person, and you look back, ये तो नहीं. वही होता ना जब पुराना Facebook स्टेटस देखते हो 5 साल पहले का, क्या था यार मैं, छिया
ये क्या किया था मैंने, क्यों किया था मैंने.
तो वही वाला सीन है. But now I think I have grown so much more in this one pandemic. I think it will show in my stand-up. Awesome. Thank you so much, Samay, for joining us. Just I think तीनों की तीनों हैं तो ताली मारी दे. Thank you, man. Thank you so much for coming in. This is incredible speaking to you, and I'll catch up with you very soon.
See you guys. Bye bye. Take care. Please bitches.
Bye. Well, if you have to ever tell someone that gaming can change your life, there is no better example than Nas. But if you ever come across this question, has gaming given new life? There is no better example than Philip. Please welcome the man who kicks ass only using his mouth, none other than Philip. Thank you so much, Philip, for joining us. How are you doing? What time of the day is it?
I'm very well, and my time here is 4 p.m.
Oh. Wow, it's evening time for you.
Yeah.
That's great. Philip, I've got a question. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, and it's a little bit cold. That's why I wear my hoodie.
Okay, good. So I guess I'll join you so that you don't feel. I think let's all pull Philip. Philip, there we go. Do we look good? Do we look as good? Good. Philip, I wanted to understand from you, like this is your inspiration into getting into gaming. Out of all the things that you could do, why did you choose gaming?
Because I used to play before my accident a lot. I'm a little bit older than you guys. I think I'm 40 years old, and I used to play PlayStation 1. I had my accident when I was 16, and I used to play games with my homies a lot. We played PlayStation. My first game was actually Pac-Man.
You know, every time I'm playing a game, like I remember cheat codes from games. Do you have any first-time memory of your first cheat code ever used?
I have to admit, after my accident, so for explanation, I can't move my hands at all. I can move my arms a little bit, but I can show you my hands here. I can't move them. I can move my fingers. And after my accident, I wasn't introduced to the quad stick here, this device, at all. I think I have my quad stick now for a little bit over 2 years. And before I had my quad stick, I only used to play with trackball. and on the left button I run, and on the right button I shoot. And to get along through the levels, I always used God mode.
Oh, so for you, using God mode enhanced the games quite differently than the rest of us.
Yeah.
So now,
Without the God mode, I was already dead after the first 2 minutes.
That's the initial. Can I take a look at your setup a little bit more? So when you use when you use your mouse, is that like the joystick that allows direction?
Yeah, I can show you if I do this.
Yeah.
That's WASD. It's like a joystick.
WASD.
Yeah, I can write my own scripts, and the device has 3 holes. 3 holes, and you can puff in it, and you can zip in the hole, and then you can do some combinations, and you can do scripts with up to 32 different key bindings. And that's everything I do with my mouse. But I have a gaming mouse on my desktop, and I use the gaming mouse to aim. But I only put my hand on the mouse. It has a sticky surface, so that that my hand won't slip on the mouse, and I can aim with my mouse. But everything else I do with my mouse, with the quad stick.
You're more like an inventor, scientist than a gamer at this point in time. I feel like
the dude who invented the thing here helps a lot of people in my situation to play the game.
It's amazing. It is amazing to know that there are, for someone who's so passionate about gaming, nothing can stop you. Now, I wanted to ask, not just with in life, but ever since the accident, because you have enabled yourself to play games in the way you are, do you think gaming has kind of pushed you as a personality to look at what else can I do that can enable my life to be better?
Yeah, I would say so. I think sometimes you are in a certain mood where you think you can't do it, or it's very difficult. But through gaming, it took a lot of time to get good at something, especially in battle royale games or first-person shooters. I play, I think, only first-person shooters at the moment, and there are a lot of pros, and it's very difficult after a time. I used to play a lot of PUBG, and I stopped it because the boom of PUBG was over, and only the real pros play PUBG, and then there was no place for me anymore.
Oh my God, journey in gaming is pretty much the same. As soon as you get really experienced gamers, I'm like, I'm going to the next one.
And then Call of Duty Warzone came out, and it was the next boom, and here I am.
Okay, so basically everyone needs to follow you to figure out what the next game boom is going to be. So you are what we call like a good luck. Good luck for all the games. So if there's any game developer, if you really want your game to do well, you need to get in touch with Philip right away, because he's the good luck charm. Philip, can you imagine a life without gaming though?
No. I met a lot of cool people. One of my best friend, I've never met him, but in real life, but I met him through gaming online, and I won't miss him. And that's because of gaming.
That is so true. I think I completely forgot about that perspective where you make friendship and that lasts way longer.
Yeah.
But good. Thank you so much, Philip, for joining us. Thank you so much for coming and talking to us and telling us about all the cool tech and also how gaming has completely changed your life. Yeah.
It was very nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. You take care of yourself, man. See you.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
What's incredible here is the fact that if you give me all the technology in the world, I don't think I'll even come remotely as close as good as this Philip. Gamers never quit. We only respawn. Respawn as gamers or comedians or streamers, anything. but it's been scientifically proven that gamers make better doctors. Now, don't ask me how I know it, because I had the privilege of speaking to an actual doctor who's a pro gamer himself, and this is what he had to say.
Yeah, so as a child, I was always interested in sports. I've always played basketball for my school district, and then I also used to play a little bit in the university. That's how I got into Counter-Strike as well. Once I found out I was slightly good at it, I got into the team aspects, and that actually got me hooked to Counter-Strike, just competing as a team and winning tournaments, being better than others. And also medicine. I don't practice the conventional medicine where I sit in outpatient departments, seeing patients day in and day out, speaking to them and then following them up. So I usually am mostly in an emergency setup with critically ill patients. So, and in such setups, you always also need teamwork, where you have teamwork between doctors and nurses and different specialities. You have neurosurgeons, cardiologists, all chipping in. So we need them for particular things. They need us for particular things. And also is very dynamic. Things keep changing every day, every minute. So I think that aspect of being adventurous, you might say, and also being looking for something new every now and then, challenges, is probably the similar aspects between gaming, sports, and the medicine that I practice.
All right, I think काफी chit chat हो चुका है हमारे बीच में, but we got something very special lined up for you. A track that I know all the gamers are going to love because it's made with love from one of the most OP rappers in the country. Enjoy.
People have been calling names, मुझको लगा मेहनत ना चली जाए all in vain. एक दूसरे के दोस्त यार साथी हम ही थे, एक साथ हमने डांट खाई सबकी मम्मी से. मत कर टाइम पास, तेरा फ्यूचर होगा इन द स्ट्रीट्स. देख हमने टाइम पास की बना दी इंडस्ट्री. चिल करके छापा पैसा मिल गई जैसे ड्रीम जॉब. मैं ही नहीं मेरे जैसे स्क्वाड में है 3 और. देख मेरे साथ स्क्रीन के उस तरफ रखे तू पैर, मालूम नहीं चलेगा रात से हो जाती कब दोपहर. प्यार हो या गाली यहाँ सब कुछ पड़ता मुंह पर, तभी लाइफ वाली गेम में हम रोज करते लेवल ऊपर. रस्ते चाहे उबड़ खाबड़, लड़के अपने सुपर चावड़, यही अपनी सुपर पावर. सारे लड़के अपने बैड बॉयज, राइवल करे सैड नॉइज. ओपी इन द चैट बॉयज. रस्ते चाहे उबड़ खाबड़, लड़के अपने सुपर चावड़, यही अपनी सुपर पावर. सारे लड़के अपने बैड बॉयज, राइवल करे सैड नॉइज. ओपी इन द चैट बॉयज. डेडिकेशन एक नंबर, फोकस सारे ब्रोज, क्योंकि टारगेट लॉक वाली प्रैक्टिस करी रोज. हम करते हैं वो जो बहुत कर नहीं पाते हैं, बस आवाज सुन के हमें लोग पढ़ने आते हैं. कैसी भी हो सिचुएशन बस अपने आगे भेज दो. हम टैक्टिकल हैं, खुलने से पहले कर देते केस क्लोज. काम एंड कंपोज जैसे प्लेयर्स ऑन अ रेस कोर्स. ऐसे सीखा हमने काबू करना अपनी रेज को. देख मेरे साथ स्क्रीन के उस तरफ रखे तू पैर, मालूम नहीं चलेगा रात से हो जाती कब दोपहर. प्यार हो या गाली यहाँ सब कुछ पड़ता मुंह पर, तभी लाइफ वाली गेम में हम रोज करते लेवल ऊपर. रस्ते चाहे उबड़ खाबड़, लड़के अपने सुपर चावड़, यही अपनी सुपर पावर. सारे लड़के अपने बैड बॉयज, राइवल करे सैड नॉइज. ओपी इन द चैट बॉयज. रस्ते चाहे उबड़ खाबड़, लड़के अपने सुपर चावड़, यही अपनी सुपर पावर. सारे लड़के अपने बैड बॉयज, राइवल करे सैड नॉइज. ओपी इन द चैट बॉयज.
If you like that track, you're gonna love the man. Give it up for none other than 47! Huge round of applause to you and to that great song. कितने दिन में बनाए?
हो गया था, एक दिन से पहले ही हो गया था, मतलब पूरा दिन में लगा था उसके अंदर.
कैमरा के लिए बोल सकते हो कि 1-2 महीना लगा था एटलीस्ट.
हाँ, 1-2 महीना लगा था एटलीस्ट.
It's the track is too good when you were making that track, did you want it to be like an anthem? Because it sounds like a anthem.
हाँ, like I mean I had the title in my mind कि मेरे को like इसको OP बोलना है, and I really wanted कि जब वो word आए तो ऐसा लगे कि 4-5 लोग या 6-7 लोग या जितने भी एक स्क्वाड के अंदर लोग होते हैं वो एक साथ बोल रहे हैं उस चीज को. So अगर कोई भी गाने का स्ट्रक्चर वैसे होता है तो it clearly becomes an anthem.
जैसे कि you know the hip hop culture अभी slowly mainstream है. पहले वो was a subculture से pop culture बन चुका है.
Okay.
Gaming also has a similar kind of narrative, right?
Yeah.
And you are part of both of it, and you're a very proficient rapper.
Yeah.
But in the gaming industry, what do you think it's going to happen? Is it similar? Do you think a similar gully boy movement will happen for gaming?
Yeah, I do see a trend though. Like जैसे hip hop में हुआ पहले हम लोग we would just do it for ourselves. उसके बाद we saw the YouTube thing happening कि जैसे stand-up comics के साथ हुआ वो चीज़ चलने लगी. फिर next year was for rappers. फिर गली बॉय आई and then लोगों ने दूसरे rappers को check करना शुरू किया. I think same thing is gonna happen for gaming too. I mean it's like almost mainstream, man. Like जैसा बाहर वाला scene है वो almost हो चुका है यहाँ पे. They might just make a movie on that. Gaming boy. I don't know. Gamer boy.
Gaming boy.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't sound as fun as
Game boy.
Well, that's a copyright issue right there.
Yeah. So I think yeah हो सकता है उसके लिए. I mean वो जा रहा है जहाँ पे उसको जाना चाहिए. People half my age are making 10 times than what I do. It's direction बहुत सही है उसका.
But as far as the gaming is concerned, because you're also part of the gaming revolution that's coming up.
Yeah.
What genre of gaming did you start with when you started playing?
I don't know if it would be considered gaming, but like I come from the time जहाँ पे boxy computers होते, like the big monitor जिसको बोलते थे, VDU, visual display unit. So I would just come back from school, play some San Andreas, and there was just one point of time जहाँ पे missions करना छोड़ ही दिया था. I was just like get on the bike, you know, play music, kill people, fun stuff. You know?
Fun stuff.
Yeah.
Quite a gangster, I see. Quite a gangster.
Yes. But उससे पहले I have played like जो TV पे those Chinese rip-offs of Nintendo 64, like cartridge वाला जो scene होता था. I've done that duck hunt and stuff. Gun लेके like TV पे लगे खड़े हो जाते. So अगर उसको gaming बोलते तो yeah, I've done that बहुत पहले से.
Yes, it is gaming also,
Yeah.
and that's the version of the gaming before. Now, like hip hop earlier was not accepted by the mainstream earlier, right?
हाँ.
And now I feel, do you think gaming has an advantage, or do you think gaming भी वो subculture की तरह बना हुआ है अभी, like hip hop was?
Perspective की बात है यार, मतलब जो gamers है उनके लिए तो proper culture ही है वो. हम उसको कैसे देखते हैं उस पर डिपेंड करता है. Like अगर मैं मेरे को मेरा जो like gaming के साथ scene है, there is a song of mine called Guda. 2019 में मैंने उसको रिलीज किया था. आज तक काफ़ी सारे गेमर्स हैं जो उसके ऊपर अपने montages बनाते थे, ट्रिक शॉट्स एंड ऑल कॉम्पिलेशंस एंड थिंग. आई स्टिल डोंट नो लाइक व्हाट वर्कड फॉर मी. वो टेम्पो था, एग्रेशन था, कंटेंट था, व्हाट वाज इन इट. तो मैं गेमिंग को इस तरह से जानता हूँ, लाइक जैसे मैं देखता हूँ, एंड आई सी दैट ग्रोइंग एवरी डे. मतलब वो गाना इतना यूज हो गया, सो आई नो कि लाइक अगर वो गाना ज़्यादा यूज हो रहा है तो ऑब्वियसली ज़्यादा montages बन रहे हैं, मतलब ज़्यादा गेमर्स आ रहे हैं. तो जब number of users बढ़ते जाएंगे तो clearly it will become more mainstream.
Yeah. I don't know if you've realized it. आपका पहला गाना became a montage sequence. Your second song is for the gamers.
Yes.
So I think as a rapper, if you've dedicated one entire song to gamers and one song that the gamers made their own, I think you're part of the gaming revolution.
I am, yeah. मैं modest भी नहीं हूँगा यहाँ पे.
Okay, cool. The modesty has left the building currently.
Left the chat.
The modesty has left the chat. By the end of tonight, we will be playing games with you. We will be playing.
Please go easy on me.
You know, I don't know, man. I don't know. You might not be good with your hand and eye coordination, but मुंह से तो बहुत अच्छा बात कर लेता ना. We've got a game for you lined up, which requires this and this more than this and this. Thank you once again, 40. Everybody, make sure you write down OP in the chat.
Yep, works.
Yeah. Also, thank you so much everyone for joining this session. We've got another session lined up for you. But before that, we got some cool announcements lined up. For example, this one.
Hello gamers, thanks for joining us for Omen FanFest. At Omen, we are working to make the entire ecosystem better for gamers to play and progress. we have put the best of Omen in one custom rig. And today I am super excited to reveal that this beast could be yours when you upgrade to an Omen laptop in the next 1 month. Let's look at this dream battle station and I will tell you more about it. As you saw, the Omen crib comes with all the equipment and the setup which you need to play at your very best. Buy any Omen laptop from 3rd till 31st December from Flipkart and you get a chance to win one Omen crib every week. Follow us on Omen India to stay updated. Thank you.
All that is pretty damn cool. Thank you so much, Prashant. Well, now that you guys know the advantages of gaming, it's time for you to find out how do you make money out of gaming. And that's what we are here to discuss. Next time you get a question from your parents कि ठीक है मतलब पैसे कैसे कमाओगे गेमिंग में तो ठीक है. You can give them examples of Dynamo, Mortal, Carry, Cronton and Scout. But not just that. There are so many opportunities in the gaming industry. You can be a social media manager, you could be a game developer, you could be the head of community, eSports business strategy associates. There's a huge list. There is a huge list. All you need to remember is that during Age of Empires, Confucius said, no, do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. That's right, I learned about history only through games. That's what ends up happening. But instead of me telling you how to do it, let's invite the two people who've turned their dreams into reality and have converted gaming into their careers. First up is a law student who's turned into a live streamer. And joining her is the head of Team Fnatic and eSports entrepreneur. Everybody make some noise for none other than Manaswini and Nimish Rao. Nemo? What should I call you? Nemo?
Nemo, yeah.
I'll call you Vivi then. Vivi and Nemo. Thank you so much for joining. Okay, first question to you, Vivi. You're a streamer. You're a live streamer who started generating a lot of fan interaction and a lot of people have started following you. What was that first step in which you're like, this is something I really want to do and continue with?
So live streaming happened to me by chance actually. I was actually looking for an internship as a social media manager because that is what I used to do prior to getting into gaming. And these guys, so it happens to be a brand that is related to gaming. And they were like, what we want you to do for us is, live stream on our social media pages. Because we've seen you interact with the community and I think it would be a good match for you. And I live streamed for the first time and I had never imagined, like I got 5,000 views and it was a huge thing for me because I had no, like in fact I was a casual gamer back then who used to go to the cafes for every Sunday. I didn't even have a gaming PC back then. So that is how I got into gaming, and because I'm very socially, social media extrovert is what I would like to call it, because I use my Facebook as my diary, personal diary. Like there was one, I put up stuff like you know what guys, today I ate jeera instead of soft, so like all that bullshit, and which is what people like to hear. From a streamer, you're just playing games. Yeah, I think skills count up to a lot. But then again, people are looking, to have fun because they play games as well.
So that's a good point that you brought up. Like as a streamer, it's charisma over skill. It doesn't mean that you should have both, but like it's the charisma, it's a personality, the entertainment that comes through. But in esports, and when it comes to competitive sports in general, especially with you, Nimish, that skill that needs to be built up That was again a journey till you got there. Like, how did it start for you? Did you have that clarity up top?
Well, I'm saying I'm not really a professional esports athlete as such. I'm more on the management side. But the funny part is that I think my career in gaming started when I was like 11, maybe actually 10. My father bought me a lot of video games, so I had like 8-9 consoles at one point. And I had a friend who had he was a collector of cartridges, so he had like some 100 odd. And I started this company called Nemo Rentals, and I would rent out video games, to people in my colony. And I think at 11 I was making like 1,500 or 2,000 rupees a week sometimes.
Wow.
So yeah, I guess it kind of stayed back with me at one point that video games can actually make you money.
Do you think the money that you're earning or the investment that other brands are doing is enough to survive, or is it enough to thrive?
I mean, investment part, I would actually like to tell you how I began the whole journey. Like I told you, I didn't have a gaming PC.
Right.
So for me, but I loved streaming. So what I used to do is I used to go to the gaming cafes, and then I used to stream from there.
Okay.
But it required money, right? I would stream for 4 or 5 hours, and per hour they would charge about 60 rupees, 70 rupees.
Nice.
And I'm a student, so I don't have any source of income. So that is where my parents came in. They knew that I was doing something, and they were I wouldn't say completely against it, but they were like, study.
Yeah, they were questioning it.
Yeah. But my mom would give me an, monthly allowance, and she knew that I go out to play games, so she would just give me some money. She knew that, and which is why she gave me extra money so that I can go and play. So I think that is a huge investment, but my mom was my first investor, I would say.
Your mom was your gaming manager and your first investor. That is, in a way, take that, other children. Okay, go on, please.
So, and after that, when I wanted to build a, professional, because I started streaming, and then I wanted to increase the quality of the content that I created. That is when I was selected as YouTube's Next Up Gamer for 2019.
Right.
So that is when YouTube was my next investor, I would say. They gave us a huge production kit, which definitely did increase a huge, plus point in my quality, my streaming quality.
And do you think India is at the global level currently, or how long do you think we'll get or kind of surpass the global benchmark currently?
Well, I'll be honest with you, we are still a very, very young industry. I don't consider, at least I don't consider myself as a part of the Indian esports industry. I consider it as a global industry. And we're all here to learn. I think there are certain practices that people have realized worked in the Indian market that don't work in the global market. And there are certain things that work in the global market will never work in the Indian market, right? So we're all unique in our own sense. But the reality is that we are far, far away from being an industry, especially esports. I'm not talking about gaming, but esports, we are far, far away from being profitable and from being somebody who is actually going to show the value that we've shown so far, right?
Right.
Obviously, we've been valued at $400-500 million as teams. But we still have to continue showing the revenue, continue showing the growth, not just in terms of numbers of followers and numbers of fans, but also in terms of competitions, in terms of investment. And I think eventually we'll get there. Like every other sport, I would say 10 years down the line, I would be very surprised if I don't see a school level competition in esport.
Nice.
Obviously, that's where my dream would be. 10 years down the line, I want to see a 12-year-old kid fight to eventually play for Fnatic in India as well.
Right. Now the question I'm going to ask you before we move on is that at a level where you are at, which is the esports industry and the Indian gaming market, both of them are making a push to get more and more audience. What kind of jobs do you see that in the gaming industry that exist and probably will exist in some time?
Well, I think with a lot of investment coming in esports, I do feel that a lot of jobs will come within the management side of professional teams and professional athletes. Again, similar to any other sports, where jobs like coaching will open up, jobs like video analyst and game analyst will open up, even something as unique as fitness trainers. which is extremely huge in some markets right now, where obviously India has not reached that level where the streamers or the gamers are taking their fitness seriously. But it is something that eventually, if you don't look after it, you basically are not going to be able to extend your career. So whether it's basic gym for your back, whether it's basic understanding to get your mind right, there is a lot of research that's going behind that as well. So those kind of jobs will eventually open up. And then your traditional back-end production jobs, whether it's casting, whether it's video production, whether it's social media management, there is so much to the whole world of esport. And I'm not even talking about gaming, I'm purely talking about esport right now. And then when you add gaming to that, I mean, then the whole world is like, you could be a graphic designer, you could be you could be somebody who designs apparel for a game publisher. I've seen people do music videos for game publishers as well. So it's basically the subculture that completely gets sucked into gaming, and gaming becomes like this mother of all subcultures in a way.
So that's,
So I just wanted to say, like, we were talking about like jobs that are completely in a different market, and we don't see gaming as an industry. But like, I, as a law student, would someday, like to practice within the gaming industry as as an esports lawyer probably.
Oh yeah, maybe that's what it's going at. Oh, so if you have any problem, please make sure you can contact Vivi currently. She is the only person I'm gonna vouch for as a esports lawyer. Excuse me, let me mediate this negotiation. It's where this is going to. That's fantastic. You're getting to hear the perspective of a streamer. You're getting to hear the perspective of management and the companies that run it. But what about developers? What about the people who develop the games? Let's get to hear from them as well. They call it the gaming industry because it's just not about the people who are in front and the people who are managing the people who are in front of the camera, but it's also about designing those games. And that's why we're going to be joined by two very interesting people. We're going to be joined by the co-founder and game designer at Nodding Head Games, and the founder of Lakshya Games, who've helped develop games such as State of Decay and Sea of Thieves. Please give a huge round of applause to Avichar and Manavendra. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. Hello, how are you doing, Avichar?
Hey Avish, I'm doing great, and pleasure to be here with Manavendra.
Yes, Manavendra, thank you so much for joining us as well.
Thank you so much for inviting me here. It's such a pleasure to be here with people who really feel so passionate about games.
Absolutely, but we wouldn't be passionate about games until you guys made those games. So we need to thank you and the hours that you spend coding, speaking to your design team, trying to be like, hello, put it in the right place, otherwise how will the hands probably move like that? Okay, first question, how much time does it go into developing, let's say, a very basic game, just so that everybody who's watching gets an idea of the investment in coding, the investment in design, and then you go into 3D and so forth. But like, if I had to ask you a competition-based game, the simplest game that you can design, how much time will that take?
According to me, I think if you're a true beginner, like you're totally a beginner, it could take up to 3 months for you to get used to what is what. And if you follow a tutorial series, a template series, probably 1.5 months. But to be able to do it by just yourself, I think 6 months.
You pioneered gaming development in the country, and this is a time where right now gamers are becoming really popular. You've got streamers are becoming popular. The incentive to start developing games, can you tell me a little bit about that? Like, what excited you about that possibility?
It's my background which actually made me get into games.
Okay.
My background was actually as a programmer. So I was really fascinated and a really big game enthusiast and a game player. I'm talking about way back when we used to have basically 2D games. Yeah, I don't know how many of you would remember Prince of Persia, the 2D version.
Yeah, obviously. That's what we played on with.
Yep, it has been an all-time favorite for a lot of people. And then suddenly you have Wolfenstein which comes in. And you're like, what the hell? So far I've been playing 2D games, or I've only seen 2D games. what the hell is this? You can actually turn things around and you can look at things from all over the place. And I was a programmer, don't forget that. So that programmer's curiosity got me to start looking at this 3D. And I'm like, how the hell have they done this? And that is what triggered the whole gaming thing. And that's how I got into game, because then I got into, left my job and all that, got some angel funding, and then started working on a games engine, a complete 3D games engine. And that's how my entry to games happened. And then we actually spent almost 2.5 years making a complete games engine. That's how I got into games. That's a very, very long time back.
My question is, actually, it's not a question as much as it's a congratulations. Right from the onset of the idea to the execution of it, where is that seeding thought that came in? Like, I want to make a game that is not just entertaining but also educative for people to understand what the Vedas, and the entire mythology of India.
So the thought of making Raji, it all started with a trip to Jaisalmer, Rajasthan. And there I was at this place called Patwo Ki Haveli, early 18th century. And I had this frame in front of me, no people, no wires, and just me and that, something from medieval times. And I felt teleported. And I had that feeling. And this is when I was transitioning from a gamer to game designer. I was 1 year away from graduating my college. So I was ready to go into the industry. So that thought was just with me, that how come we don't see games from India or set in India or based in India? And I somewhat knew the answers because I knew the gaming industry is new in India, fairly new compared to US or Europe. But then I was like, we got to make this happen. And I think the vision was to put India on the game dev map, and specifically PC and console. And when we say that, we're talking about a high top tier quality indie game.
That's true, but also if you look at this, gaming development is really interesting because you have not just the passion of gaming, just the passion of storytelling, but parentally approved hard work. Like coding comes into this, technical skills come to it.
How the mindset has changed from the early 2000 to today. Early 2000 when like I was saying, I was like getting into gaming. You know what was the first thing my father asked? Are you mad or are you okay? बच्चे time बर्बाद करते हैं games में. You're going to make it? Just forget about it. You can't even imagine how much struggles I had to go through just to convince them, okay, let me just give it a shot. Yeah. And today, the parents are actually looking at gaming as an actual career option, as a viable career option. That's the change which has happened in the gaming industry, the mindset of, because at the end of it, how will the gaming industry grow? If more and more kids look at it as a career option. And for that, the parents need to have, have the mindset that, okay, this is something is viable. It's okay.
Yeah. You know what? For all the parents who are watching it right now, okay, and for the students who are also watching it, gaming is this one industry that's like just developing. That means it's the best time to enter now and train and educate yourself, because by the time the industry catches momentum, you would have already been so ahead with it. You've got the technical knowledge, you get storytelling abilities, you also get like the ability to play better. But here's a question again. I'm going to ask you specifically, if you had to tell an entire generation, whoever is watching, Avichal, would you like to tell Sharma uncle and Sharma auntie why game development is exactly what their child, Junior Sharma, needs to do?
Game development is something Junior Sharma must do, because game development is a beautiful place where storytelling, coding, VFX, art, music come together to create magic. And this is where passion comes from. This is where the gamers find passion. And just to give context to Sharma uncle and auntie, gaming industry eclipses movie plus music industry. That's how far games have come. So if you're still thinking it's a waste of time, you need to go on Google and ask Google.
Yeah, to that, what I would like to add to that point, because is something which is for Mr. Sharma and Sharma uncle and auntie, they need to understand that gaming is a $160 billion industry. And you combine movies, music, theater, animation, all of them, you will barely reach 100 billion. Now, where do you want your kid to be? industry which is like double the size of all the other creative things put together, or just somewhere else. So now it's just a question. It's a perspective.
Yeah.
And in India, people don't understand that much because they haven't seen the gaming
Bigger
universe.
picture.
They haven't seen the bigger picture. Correct. But you don't realize gaming is the largest segment of entertainment industry globally. Put all the other together, and gaming is still the biggest.
I think your answer to Mr. and Mr. Sharma aunty just numbers. You had them at $160 billion industry. बाकी सब उनको सुने दे इतना जाओ. I feel like Sharma uncle and Sharma aunty will start reproducing more kids to go into gaming so that they can start their own development now.
They'll be starting classes on game development.
Yeah, which reminds me, now the final question is that if somebody wants to enter game development, what is the first step that they can do? Madhavendra, would you like to tell us, like if someone like me or Junior Sharma has to enter, what's the first step they need to do? Where can they go?
Parents will not like it, but start playing games. Because the more games you play, the more you understand the industry. The more games you play, the more you understand what goes into making a game. Because for me, because I don't want to be, I just want to jump into something and then ask a question. Okay, now what do I do? It's very exciting to say I want to get into game development, but it's more important to actually play the games. Because when you're playing games, you're looking at all the aspects, and don't play it as a player. Play it as somebody who wants to make it. And then you will see it is not just all fun and games. It is a lot of hard work, a lot of disappointments. We have to accept that also. It is a lot of disappointments.
Yeah.
And if after learning all that, you still want to get into the industry, you're perfect for the job.
So I do agree with Manveen's answer that first playing games and figuring it out, is this meant for you? If you can't play games, this is definitely a no for you. If you can't love playing games, it's still a no for you, because I've seen people quit midway. I've seen people quit 4 years in, 5 years in. This is a hard industry. Your talent, your skill, this develops, it takes years. And a lot of people, it's great to present these numbers to you and they do happen, but there's a lot of, sometimes even decades. People know about Horizon Zero Dawn. It took 8 years to develop. Right? It was not done in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. It took 8 years. And if you read about the journey, they went through a lot of failures. Raji also went through failures and a lot of struggle to be able to, finally release. And all the kids, I would say, in game industry, all the branches come from 3 pillars: game art, game programming, and game design. So lighting artist, tech artist, or engine programmer like Manveen was, or feature programmer, or UI programmer, UI artist. So all of them come from these 3 pillars. So if you can identify, once you're done playing and loving games, where do you want to go? Do you want to do art? Do you want to do code? Or do you want to design how the player plays this or write stories? It all starts with these 3 pillars. And I think that's where you should do your own research and figure it out for yourself. What do you really want out of this? Because this is a very long and a hard journey for a lot of game developers. And your passion and your skill set is what's going to make you survive. And you have to be a team player along all of this.
Talking about gaming and streaming, let's talk to someone who's leading the gaming content in India, someone who I know for a very long time. Give it up for Shilpa Kiswani! Hi, how are you doing? Thank you so much for joining us on such a huge screen.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and for a lot of people who don't know, Shilpa has seen the advent of comedy, and now she's part of the advent of gaming. Do you see any similarities, any crossovers?
So many. I think for comedians, I can talk about it in 2 parts. Like, one is for comedians, it is entertainers first. And the way I think we've seen gaming being picked up by a lot of the influencers has been because they've led from the position of entertainers first. And people are really coming in for the content that they are describing, they are commenting on. and the video is essentially the gameplay that is lending to the content creation part of it. And I think we saw a lot of this happen during the pandemic time, where a lot of folks were at home, and essentially gaming became the vehicle with which they could videofy what they were feeling, how they were being, etc. And from a gamer's point of view also, I think they have also recognized at the end of the day, in order to distinguish themselves from each other, there has to be a clear USP. Yes, a good gameplay is super critical, but how do you differentiate yourself when two of you are at par in terms of your gameplay? Then it just literally goes into what are the nuances that you're going deeper into, understanding your audience, what are the conversations that you're bringing up, how relevant are you being about trends, and what really distinguishes you from each other then. So lots of cross-pollination happening. I mean, you've been witness to it with so many stand-up comedians as well as influencers taking to gaming over the last 6 months. And we've seen a lot of the gamers experimenting with lots of formats to stand out.
So now, I'm going to ask this directly to Shilpa. Do you think there is a Venn diagram that exists where you can have a streamer and an esports player, and how can YouTube kind of enable that? Or is that, because there are so many people in it, do you think that's possible? I'm asking as like somebody who wants to do both. Do streaming because I'm an entertainer, and I would like Nimish to call me and say, bro, I like what you do one day.
Why not? My answer to that is why not? I mean, haven't we seen folks like Mortal, who are also esports players, being successful on YouTube? I mean, there has of course been Scout also, who has been successful on YouTube. I mean, I think like Nimish said, I mean, you have to just identify how much you want to contribute to creating content and how much you want to focus on your gameplay. I'm sure if you structure yourself and have a schedule of these many hours of practice, and this is the fun part of engaging the audience. I mean, there is a very, very great opportunity to actually storify the entire team, bring in the engagement from the users who want to follow the team, so that the next time they go up on the stage, there is a super fan base that is already there, because they have seen what's going on behind the scenes. They've seen some of them play, of course, not giving away the strategy of how they are sort of navigating the gameplay and stuff. And at the end of the day, see, gaming is a skill, right? I mean, it doesn't have to be limited only to the game that they are focusing on. Today, you may be choosing to go ahead and play let's say battle royale formats as your key focus in terms of competitive sports. But when it comes to engaging with your audience, you could also be playing nostalgia games. I mean, today the market has opened up. I mean, we have seen anything that brings in conversation succeeding. We've seen the success of Fall Guys. We've seen the success of Among Us. So it's just I think we have to identify who's playing which game at the end of the day when it comes to driving the audience. You could be playing the game of being just the gaming influencer who is essentially there, who wants to be noticed, who's driving discovery and installs for newer games. You could be the key esports player whose entire USP could be around teaching and educating the aspiring gamers about what they can learn, how can they grow into the field of esports and stuff. And then the other can be just entertainers as gamers who are like, I am a gamer and I am also an entertainer, and here, come have fun with me. I mean, there are so many opportunities that you can explore as a creator as well as a gamer on YouTube.
You've got like 40,000, 50,000 people watching the live stream of people playing games. That's a huge number. And that number is just projected to go up, right?
Yeah, so I mean, let's look at it like this. It's the right place at the right time. When in the early years, when you guys started back in 2015 and stuff, I think we were still struggling to hit that 1 million mark by a creator as such when it came to it. And then happened the wave where everyone landed up getting access to a smartphone. Everyone landed up getting access to the internet, which sort of brought in the users from the non-metro regions also on the internet, which is I mean, it's like the right thing happening at the right time at the right place sort of phenomena that has happened. I mean, even right now, if we look at just gaming, I think the inflection point that we saw, the first inflection point was 2018. Driven by the fact that everyone had a smartphone in their hand, everyone had internet in their hand, as well as a game that sort of lent well to being easy to play on the mobile handset that was there. Literally, like in 2018, we had no gamers with 1 million and above, and right now in 2019 we spoke about 24 gamers being 1 million and above, and right now that number has changed many fold. I mean, and the recent research that was done done between the time frame of January to April, like 64% of the searches that are coming in for gaming content are from non-metro regions. So I think there are a lot of factors that are in play when it comes to accessibility that are changing. It's not to say that comedy is not growing or entertainment is growing slower than gaming or anything of that sort. I think there isn't a comparison because the two verticals are very, very different, but they're going to start to merge, and we're seeing some of that. We have at least 15-20 folks right now who have dabbled between the entertainment content as well as merging into gaming content and trying to create this hybrid, which will open up the opportunity for more publishers, for more developers to explore working with folks who are able to talk through different games and take them through their journey in a very unique way, rather than being limited or stuck to just one particular game. I mean, the audience has also in a way tasted blood. Like, they're willing to experiment new games more now than ever. If 2019 was the year which essentially, where a game essentially decided who becomes the largest creator, right now that's completely democratized. I mean, we've seen Samay and all succeed with chess, which is huge. Who thought that chess was going to be such a big phenomenon?
That is true. And I can vouch for one thing before you go, is that every time I get a super chat, I'm just like, why?
Yeah.
You make your super chat, why you pay? You can do what I'm doing. Why are you? And then I'm like, every time I get a super chat, I'm like, all right, cool. I guess you haven't figured it out that you can do it. So let me do it till you figure it out.
No, but then think about it, no, Abhish. I mean, put yourself in the shoes of somebody who is contributing. Why would you contribute? Tell me, who's your favorite creator?
Currently, it's a very controversial question you've asked me. You're putting me in the spot now. My favorite YouTuber is...
One of the 5. Give me one of the 5.
I think I really like what Samay is doing currently because he's doubled down on what he really enjoys. So I really like
Let's say you're watching Samay's stream and you've spent more than an hour watching his stream. Is there any way that you can express affection to him? Is there any way you want your name to be called out by somebody we're looking up to, we're getting inspired by, we're really enjoying? I mean, it just takes like a little contribution to feel like I'm part of the community. I am being noticed by the creator who I am contributing to. It's really just... showing love to the creator. It's not about asking for money or saying, why are you paying? I mean, it's just like, it's showing gratitude.
Yeah, it is amazing. Especially with a membership model, you feel like you're part of a community that you're not part of. Like, it's like getting a exclusive merchandise that only you have.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think with gaming and with streaming, it kind of enables an entire community to be built. And that's what basically we're trying to say, is that if you start gaming in especially the way that you do, and if you start doing it, there are enough people out there who are going to come follow up and who are going to probably say, you know what, I want to be part of this community. I like what you do. I like what you stand for. And here's me supporting your cause. On that note, thank you so much, Shilpa, for joining us. Thank you so much, Avichal. And thank you so much, Manvendra, for joining us on this huge screen. It was amazing speaking to you. And thank you for coming and inspiring us and telling us what we need to do right away.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It is a pleasure being here.
Absolutely. $160 billion industry on a big screen. That's what you're getting to see on a big screen. All right. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys soon. All right. As promised before, it's time for me to announce the Omen Squad. They are a collective of gamers, comedians, casters, people with diverse origins but with one unifying goal is to break cultural boundaries using gaming. They're extremely chill, they're extremely skilled, and we'll be live streaming to you every week on the Omen channel. Are you guys excited to meet them? Because I'm excited to introduce them to you. First up, whether he's playing Valorant, CSGO or any other game, he's got the skills, he's got the kills, and he's got the leadership ability. Make some noise for Hellranger. We've got a professional live streamer and a caster. Whether she's playing horror or a first-person shooter, she's lively, she's funny, and she's gonna leave you in splits. Give it all you got for Manas VV. He's a hype master himself, man of many talents. The knowledge he has about gaming is undeniable. Make some noise for none other than Ocean Sharma. The fourth member of the Omen squad is none other than me. So make sure you catch us, the Omen squad, live every week on the Omen YouTube channel. So make sure you follow our social media handles to find out when and where we are streaming. And for more special announcements, let's give it up for Mr. Vikram Bedi.
I hope you guys found that session inspiring. It'd be really good to see more passion about careers in gaming. Live streaming, as you know, is one of the coolest and the most enjoyable jobs in gaming. I know most of you here love watching it, and many of you want to live that life. Well, here's your chance. The Omen squad has a 5th slot open, and that slot could go to any one of you. This is your chance to create content, live stream, and hang out with the Beesh, Ocean, Hellranger, and Manas BV on part of the Omen squad and learn from them to make you play better. We'll be announcing more details on how to play. Do follow us on Omen India to know more.
Well, thank you very much. As a member of the Omen squad, might I just say that I'm looking forward to streaming on the Omen YouTube channel very soon. Now, my voice is running a little hoarse. And next up, we're going to be talking about India's first scholarship program for gamers, the eSports Gold Quest. And I think if I do it, I won't be doing justice to it because I'm just the Pikachu of eSports. I'm going to bring on stage the Raichu of eSports, none other than Ocean Sharma.
Well, here I am, a better looking Abhish Matthew with good hair and obviously a good personality and a very bright face. I mean, I'll just say nothing taken away from that guy, but well, if we're just talking about everything out here as general, as a whole, we're just talking about the competition in esports, right? When you play a game, when you just go for the domination, competition gets ingrained in our blood. We're just talking about every kill that happens, that spirit of showcasing that I am better than other players that are just playing in my field, not in just my area, not in my locality, but in my country, but in maybe my region or something. That is where it just keeps the sport spirit alive and just going on. I mean, you get a kill somewhere, you just shout like, yeah, you like that. That thing is where, you know, everyone's just enjoying with the spirit of whatever is happening out there. I mean, I am a caster, so I also get that adrenaline rush whenever it just falls down with me. You start off as a smaller journey, maybe just in a small LAN party with your friends dominating, showcasing your talent to them, and eventually next moment is when you realize I can just go and dominate big stages with millions of people just watching out, chanting around my name, and that is why they just trust me because they like me for what I am. So just for all those discussions and all, I'll be having a partner in crime for this one. Allow me to introduce for this section a very well-known esports guru just right out with me. It's going to be Mr. Akshat Rathi. So welcome out here.
Hey Ocean, how are you doing?
How are you doing? That's my question, because obviously I am super energetic with everything that's going on right now.
You've always, I think you have a sugar pill in you. But esports is doing well, right? I think esports is somehow India's got its own groove, its own mojo for esports going. But it's just started, right? So, and you've been part of this journey. So tell me how you've actually looked at it and how this has grown.
I would say, just like you said, it's grooving, right? So that baby step dance is what we are looking right now. But for me, I would say, yeah, it will grow. It will be a teenager and then it will bloom properly as it, you know, as the bud is slowly and steadily growing up. But then I want to ask you as well, when did you and Gautam meet? Like, what happened when StarCraft was obviously the game that you said you started off with everything? But what was the reason behind like everything, like Nodwin? From Lord Nod, Nodwin just came in. So all that thing, yeah.
So I used to play, there's a game called Command and Conquer. I wanted to go and play that really well, and I used to play a race in there called Nod, and I used to play really well. And that's where I started my gaming life from. I used to go ahead and love that game forever. Gautam and I met online, literally on a place called Team Liquid. It was the place where everyone hung out around StarCraft. He was coming in from Canada. I was living in India. He wanted a sparring partner. We just hit it off. And the first thing we ever did together was not esports and gaming. We actually did a food venture between us together. And while the food venture was eventually stopped, I think I'm glad we met, and I'm glad we did what we did, because that's where Nodwin was born and that's where esports is from.
I mean, that's really good, right? That's where it started. That was your opportunity to just grab in. But then in today's times, as we just talk about this one, where do you think opportunities lie today? Because now it's obviously ever increasing, it's ever growing. But then where do you see, if a person wants to start it today, like where should he see his first opportunity or something?
So everything around esports, right? A lot of people ask me that question, how do I get into esports? I often give the analogy that you don't want to go ahead and do esports around just going and playing games. Esports is not about playing games. You've casted enough PUBG Mobile, you've casted in other tournaments which is there. It's about being an athlete, right? And it's about skills. It's fundamentally about skills. It is not about practice. You practice to get your skills better. You don't practice to go ahead and build gameplay better, right? Match awareness is something you build after you've built skill awareness. So what you really want to be doing is honing on your skills, your reaction times, your attention spans, your map awareness, your gun, your holding, your attention, like all the things that great athletes, right? If you ask a cricketer, it's about and it's a batsman, it's about bat lift, it's about stroke, it's about timing. If it's a bowler, it's about wrist position, which is there. And then you want to practice that a lot, right? Not in match situations. First, you want to just practice so your skills are great.
Now let's go a bit back. Just like you said, you started Nordwin out there. At that time, obviously, there won't be that big of an esports scene as it is right now. So where did this explosion happen? Like, who dropped the first bomb for this explosion? Like, what do you think?
I don't think it was we all like to go ahead and look at explosions. One of my favorite quotes from Messi has been, it only took me 18 years to be an overnight success. You do little things and you keep on doing them well. You support the community. You go ahead and build the grassroots. You build the community. You build casters. You go ahead and have great analysts. You go ahead and build a great broadcast experience. You want to go ahead and be world class. Indians want world class, right? You don't want to be a Sasta tournament which is there. If we see the TI, if we see majors, if we see world class productions from ESL and DreamHack and Blast and everyone, you want to be as good as them. You want that experience both for the fans in the stadium, you want it for the teams who are coming down, you want it for the broadcasters and the talent. And while we didn't have a lot of money which is there, it was this continuous process of just working hard over 6 years to go ahead and do this. So this bomb that fell, it just took about 6 years to go ahead and make.
So we had a lot of good conversations, right? But then the conversation does not over because the night is still young, as we just talk about this one. So there are a lot of good people that we have to still introduce and have to conversate with. So one of them is going to be South Asian Pro Evolution Soccer champion. And I want to introduce Ankur Devakar. So Ankur, how are you feeling out in this one?
As amazing as you are.
My amazingness is off the roof if I have to just talk about
Same here, match me there.
Well, if you're matching me out, I have a question for you to match it up with the vibe, right? Where did the journey just start for you with the gaming scenario?
So it's more of an old school story. It started in 2002. So I used to go at my dad's office to play video games. If I scored a distinction, which I scored eventually, as a 10-year-old, it's easier. So so that was the time when I was introduced to a game. So there was a guy who used to come at my dad's office to install a few games. And my dad had told him that, install a few games because he's about to raid the computer. So the FIFA World Cup was going on back then. FIFA 2002 World Cup was going on back then. So I happened to click on FIFA 2002. So I actually loved the game because the only football I played was in Sega. So that was a 2D kind of a thing, and this was very exciting for me as a kid. So I was loving the whole vibe of it, to be honest, and I was scoring goals left, right, and center. And so I had a huge rep in my, I hyped it up to my friends as well, that I scored like 5 to 6 goals in a match. And there's a funny twist to it as well. So cut to next year, so I purposely called that guy, like now there's a new game out there, FIFA 2003. So I want that game because I'm good at it. So he happened to come and he said that, you can go ahead and map your controls. And I took a pause and I was like, okay, might be a new feature. So I went ahead, mapped the whole controls, and I found that I was so terrible at it. And I was like, how is this possible? Let me go back to FIFA 2002. I went back and I saw that I was not even playing that game. The controls was in the middle. Not on the left, not on the right. So basically it was the AI who was playing and I was just smashing buttons. So that was my noob story. But eventually that got out the best out of me because I had to wrap it up with my friends. So I actually learned the game and went ahead, and that's how the competitive spirit started at the age of 10.
Well, we are similar at one place, and that is I also smash buttons, but the AR never makes me learn, right? So I'm not learning any time, but still. Well, the pinnacle of gaming is esports, and the pinnacle of esports is big tournaments, massive tournaments, where these people have already, showcased their talents, but then there are other people as well who actually, run down those tournaments. They become the backbone of that tournament, and they showcase what they have to offer when it comes down to the best of gaming. I mean, we are talking about ESL, and if we are talking about ESL, then there's none other than Ulrich Schulz, who has had the massive experience of showcasing what it's like to be at the best of the best stages. I mean, let's just welcome that man, right? I mean, we're talking about the best people. There he is.
Thank you. It's a bit earlier here than it is for you, but excited to be here.
How was your journey of esports, and like, where are you right now? How did that transition happen?
Yeah, it started about 20 years ago, I would say. We'd always had PCs at home. My father worked in IT, so always played games to some extent. And then in 1999, a friend of mine, he discovered this beta version of a game called Counter-Strike that was a Half-Life mod at that time. And we found that very exciting. So we started playing it, and then that was around the time when LAN parties started happening. So we took our PCs and took them to a location for a weekend, and then we didn't sleep but played Counter-Strike all day. So that's how it started. And I think the most amazing thing to me is that we're 20 years later, and that game is still top of the list in terms of esports titles.
I mean, that's totally true, right? I mean, Akshat, you have met Ulrich for sure, and like you have worked together as well. So how has that journey been? I want to ask like both of you if you guys can, like, right?
No. So when I was there and we got ESL to come down to India to go ahead and do ESL 1 in Mumbai, I think Uli was down here. He had let me ask him. Uli, how was your time in India?
It was really exciting. It was last year. Obviously heard a lot of things before, and then we'd been talking about an event for a long time. So then it finally happened. We got to Mumbai. Huge city. What I found more exciting, where I'm hoping to come back at some point, is seeing all those people for PUBG Mobile events. So something that the mobile title can drive thousands of people in an arena. We don't really have that here, so I'm looking forward to coming back at some point to see that in person.
No, and that's the wonder of the world together, right? So I think in Europe, when the cathedral of Counter-Strike is considered ESL 1 Cologne, and that goes and fills out thousands of fans, I think the mobile journey that India has is been very unique, right? It's also building out this great esports stars. I know someone like a Hellranger, you started off with Counter-Strike in our Zero to Hero stack in our national championships, but you've been playing that, and you've been playing Valorant. What are the big things that matter to you as an esports athlete, right? What is really important for you?
Well, I think getting the opportunities at the consistent level was something that was really hard back in the day. But when Nordwin and ESL, you guys brought in consistent events throughout the year, and we had consistent events to play, right? We had something to fight for at a consistent level. I think that is something that was missing back in the day. And that is something I think which is very important for players nowadays, because when you start young, right, when you start as a player, when you start your journey, and if you don't see these events where you can reach the top, you'll never be able to, figure out a roadmap. So now having starter cups, to moving into challenges, to moving to masters, going through this journey as a player is very important, because it helps you build as a player, and also at the same time you can see an opportunity that, okay, I can make something out of this, and this is something I can do throughout the year. So I think having that and reaching to the top and representing India as well on the world stage is something that is the biggest thing that is available for me.
Uli, that's actually a great thing for me to go ahead and segue on, right? You at ESL built this really cool stack which is called the Zero to Hero, and that takes people who just started playing to go ahead and go to nationals, to go to internationals, and we have Hellranger, who's actually gone through the Counter-Strike journey with us in India. But how does that work worldwide, right? And you've built this, so national ambitions. Is it okay for you to just be a person who's like, I'm going to be play and this is as good as it gets? Tell us about the stack that you have, the 0 to Hero 1.
When we look at esports games, then we typically find it difficult if there's something that exists and it only has a top level. So you have maybe dozens of players that compete at the top level and they're the best. But then what does everyone else do? I think that's kind of the key challenge that we're always trying to solve in the systems that we create, is how do we take someone who's played this game and has now decided, I want to do this in a serious way, I want to practice, want to get better, to the point where they might be able to lift a trophy on stage. And we see so many different steps on the way that it's really hard to do that just naturally. Because, for example, one, you need to find a team. You need to be able to play in a team. You need to be able to win and lose as a team. You need to be able to improve as a team. That's one step. Second step, you need to commit time to it. And then you have to potentially commit a couple of weeks to playing in the league. And you have to commit every Tuesday, every Thursday to playing. And that's the next step, where you structure your life a bit around that. And then you prepare for those matches and you're really ready for it. And then you go to the next level where you compete against, say, the best teams in your country. That means you have to compete against people that naturally might not be within your radar, might come from a totally different part, but you still have to prepare for them and play against them. And then you have to play in front of an audience at some point after you played in a LAN environment, which isn't at home. That's step one. Step two, play in front of an audience that screams and shouts and potentially isn't on your side. Now, all those steps are something that you have to take, and that's not natural. That doesn't come within the game. You don't naturally play in front of an audience. So we think that having that tiered system is really important for the reason of showing you a way to progress.
Ankur, so you've also been part of this journey, right? You've become one of the best in that stack. You've become one of the best people in the country. Besides the opportunity that happens, talk to us about this desire. Like, were you ever paid a salary to go ahead and do this? Would you need a salary? As an athlete, what is your heart ask?
So basically, consistency is the only thing that any athlete would ask. Yeah. A better equipment, a better stability, basically. So that automatically cuts my 50% of my worries, and I can focus in the game. For any athlete, this is a major important point that you have to. It's all about the mindset, and that has to be very clear. So that is a very important aspect which people don't actually treat it the way it has to be treated. But it's good that now we are bringing this up, and now that the players are going through it. So coming back to your question, what do I actually want is basically someone to take care of everything that I'm not interested in and let me focus in my game.
I'd like to add to what Ankur said, right? As Ulrich said, right? LAN events is the last pinnacle of the events, right? So we as players, we try to make our space at the area as much as we can as similar to our homes, right? Because you want the keyboard in a certain way, you want the mouse at a certain angle, you want, everything according to you. So that space is basically like our temple, and we want it according to how we had at our home, to make us comfortable and, to play at our best. So the kit is the most important thing, I feel, because that is something you have for regardless of how many years you play, or for regardless of what level you are playing at. The kit is something that is going to enhance your game to the next level.
Ocean, I'll just bring you into this also. You've actually, as Ulrich was talking about PUBG Mobile, you've casted this in the Tyagaraja Stadium, and where everyone has been screaming and shouting, which is there. And you've also casted in front of a empty desk. Yeah. You've also casted in front of your webcam before, which is there. You've played in LANs, you've played in the ESL Premiership stage. So whenever you go to bigger stages, this experience of not just environment awareness, how important is it? Did it matter to you where there were 5,000 fans for PUBG Mobile? Did you like casting it better there? And what challenges did that give you?
I mean, see, it was, because when it happens in front of a crowd, right? So when it's happening at a desk, when there's no one, you get it. Person A kills person B. Yeah, that happens. We get it. But when person A shoots on person B in front of a crowd, the crowd just goes, oh my god, and that thing, that just increases you're not even playing the game. The audience is watching it, the players are playing it, but when it gets into your ears that whatever you're saying, it's making an impact onto the players as well as the audience. and that kind of, you know, just changes the vibe of that whole area if you just talk about it. And the same goes for the YouTube chat as well. What's happening on YouTube? Like there's that some fire emotes are just going on when it happens. OP gets spammed out there. So that thing, it just takes the vibe from here to just somewhere there onto another level, and that's something that I would say keeps the game alive. Like we are the voice of the game, but then the audience is the expression of the game that just comes out. So that's where.
When you played, which is the first time when you played in front of a crowd, was it scary? Be honest.
Yeah, so I'll tell you, the first time ever playing in front of a crowd, it was not even a big crowd. It was like 20 to 30 people in a cafe, but my hands were shaking. I've never played in front of a crowd, right? And like that was something different. Like when you're playing and there's like even there's 10 people watching you, right? You get conscious. Okay, oh my God, people are watching me, and then you get nervous. I think that has happened to every player whenever they have played their first LAN event, basically. So that was something, you know, from there to, you know, now getting excited by the crowd. You know, I want more people to watch me.
I know you go out and make them, you shout and you shriek and tell them to get on your side all the time. No, what about you? Do you also love playing in front of a crowd? Is that a good thing? Is it, no, does this crowd inspire you? Does the crowd scare you?
So when I started gaming, it was all about the LAN events. And I think if I started in this era where the online culture is that big, I would be easily disappointed after a loss or two. I wouldn't pursue it after a year or two if I was not that good. But LAN culture actually gave me that confidence, okay, I need to please someone. There are certain fans who look forward to, you know, even if I lose in the second round, I think I feel a connection, and that's what I think every athlete would feel that connection.
Yeah.
So I think this is very important, just like in football. You play in front of your home audience, it's
it's great.
Bizarre. I mean, for your opponent, it's just. So I remember once I was playing in Chandigarh, it was me versus 50 people, and that time I realized how important this is, because I traveled alone, I had no one, and that person was like average. I used to beat him like every second day, but at that moment of time, he won. He thrashed me by 4 goals.
Wow.
And that's when I realized I need to change my mindset, and I need to know how to react. And you know, I built my game style according to it, and that actually gave me confidence and helped me becoming a better player.
Yep.
So audience is very important.
Okay. I think my last question before we just jump back to Uli is, how important is it for you guys to play against international people? I think I was talking to you, you told me that, you know, Valorant is really important because other people across Asia have started playing it, you play against this. You know, Indians will have a certain style, but suddenly you go to the world stage and you're like, oh my God, this is different, which is there. How important is that international exposure to?
It is very important. Like people in Germany, they play a very different game style. People in England, they have a very, you know, skilly play style, where people like in India, we look forward for a nice gameplay, a beautiful football. We come from a Brazilian, I think we match that vibe. But as we played with England and other countries as well, that's when we realized that, okay, this is something very different. We need to practice at this level to reach and match that internationally. So definitely that really helps us as a player to perform in the international this thing.
One point I'd like to add to that is, like, if you see at the grassroots level, like, let's take Counter-Strike and football as an example. In Europe, right, you see everyone plays Counter-Strike or, you know, football at a very high level, right? And that is because they all keep playing against each other, and even at the grassroots, right, the way they are taught to play the game or the way the game is supposed to be played is at a high level. Because if you keep playing against players who are playing at a high level, you will keep improving basically. You get that point where, okay, I need to be better, I need to be better, I need to be better, right? And those consistent opportunities and those great understanding of the game at the grassroots level, or the great thought process behind the game at the grassroots level, is something which is really important.
Got it. And Uli, just on that, saying, you know, everyone wants to go ahead and level up and play against other people, while we'll have the ESL 1 circuit, which is a team circuit. I think national federations are getting involved fairly actively, and I know you're involved with the German Federation. Can you tell us a little more about that? Can you tell us that how can countries get behind going and supporting esports?
I think the biggest piece is obviously acceptance, right? I think that's one thing that we have, and we see in Nordic countries like Denmark, that politicians are getting involved and congratulating teams. I mean, it goes a long way towards a couple of things. One, obviously making it legitimate, but also in that, say, eternal fight between children and their parents about is this something that you should pursue or not. That is something that's really important. To just make sure that this is a legitimate sport, just like any other sport if you do too much of it. So that's one thing. The second thing is, and we see that especially in Germany here, I think it's really important to give it the same status as other sports to make sure that it can be integrated into the existing system that exists around sports clubs, and because that is a key in creating the right environment for especially children to start practicing in the right way, really making sure that esports can also happen there, that people can physically get together, obviously, you know, when that's possible again, but they can physically get together and together work on it, but also experience that social experience. That is really something that we think is very important, where national federations can play a key role in bringing this into those very established structures that traditional sports tend to have, to also make sure that for everyone who's aspiring and wants to progress, that there's a structured but also safe environment that makes sure they're put on the right path while still making sure that they pay attention to their education.
Exactly. I mean, as we were just talking about this one, we have a really special guest, obviously, and that's going to be Teeth. I mean, that guy has represented himself onto the Asian Games, and he was the first, I would say, esports athlete, as per se, you can say that, and he was the first esports athlete to get a bronze medal, the first ever medal in esports for the country. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, let's just welcome Teeth Mehta out there. So, Teeth, how are you doing today, man? What's up?
Yeah, doing good. Excited to be here.
How has your journey been, like, from a normal gamer to someone who has represented himself at Asian Games? Like, how did that happen?
So, just like everyone, you know, the gaming journey started when we were kids, playing at cousin's house and everything. But I was interested in chess during my college days. So, a friend of mine introduced me to Dota, and he said that, hey, if you like chess, this is basically chess in a video game. So I was really intrigued by it, and I started learning more about how everything worked, and realized that people were so in depth in that game that they had mathematical expressions to find out which items to buy and everything. So that really piqued my interest, and that's the first moment that I realized that there is something called esports out there, you know, where people compete in video gaming competitions. And yeah, that's basically from where my journey started. Eventually, I shifted over to Hearthstone, which is a single-player card game. And since it is a turn-based game, I didn't have to worry about having a team or having a good internet connection. So yeah, that's essentially where my journey started from.
No, and Teeth, you've obviously done well for the country, right? I remember the story when you had told me once that when the flag of India went up, you thought everything is going to be okay. But before that, you were very scared. Like, the national qualifiers for you were much more tougher than when you were at the international stage. Tell us more about that.
The national scene is that there's not many players that compete actively like me. So when I'm up against them, I usually don't know what their play style is, what decks they might bring, what cards they might play, and meanwhile they have basically complete knowledge about me. And as much as the game, like any strategical game, is played on the field, it is also played off the field. So when the other opponents have an informational advantage over you, it becomes difficult to defeat them. So like definitely like my biggest hurdle was the Indian scene, because I played against the international players and defeated them here and there in ranked mode or other tournaments. So I was confident playing against them, but since I knew nothing about the Indian scene, I was a bit scared about what I might have to face. I've lost previously in other local tournaments to fellow Indians, so it was definitely a real scary moment for me going up against the Indian players, but fortunately it all worked out in the end.
So Teeth, you've obviously heard Uli talk about it, but you've also gone and played, you've gone international, and I've also heard that you had to put yourself through this. You have phenomenally supportive parents, and thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing that. Please give them my regards again. What were the two things that you would change if you were rewinding 2 to 3 years and say, I would need this, and I would be far more successful than I am right now?
All right. So the first thing is definitely better infrastructure, I would say. I remember I was playing in an ESL tournament in 2016, and I was about to play in the finals, and my internet connection just cut off. So I had to forfeit that game. Unfortunately, winning that finals would have allowed me to travel to Los Angeles and compete at an international stage way earlier in my career. Fortunately, now this issue is less occurring, like internet connections or the infrastructures have gotten better. So yeah, that's basically a good thing that has happened. And the second thing I would do is that I would definitely, participate and compete a lot more among international players. Like initially, I only participated in tournaments. I didn't get into any practice groups that we see in other countries, like where players from the same country or even internationally, they get together, they discuss, they have a meeting in voice chat, discuss their plays, and do all the research and everything. I started doing that way later in my career. So if I was a better knowledge person, I would definitely be doing that initially as soon as I started.
Oh, brilliant. And I think that says so much about the scene which is there. We have a demo sport Olympian, but we still have an Olympian among us. We have an Indian champion. We definitely have a Counter-Strike future star. We have a great caster. And we've heard some great things out of this, right? We've heard things like opportunity for international exposure is one of the most important ones that is available. This Zero to Hero story that Uli talked to us about, where you can start and get that exposure of going and being disciplined to go ahead and play on every Sunday or every activity which is there, and then build up your career, is extremely. You mentioned, both of you, that salaries are important right now because it allows you to go and take away that headache and lets you focus on your craft. You mentioned equipment and stuff like this. That is extremely important because that defines it. Your oiled analog stick that is being worn out, your desk that is just there. I think if we just take these as great learnings away, that's our contribution, saying these are the very important, with the government going and stepping in and the legitimacy that can come in. So I think that's the handoff from me to you, Ocean.
Well, that was a very good discussion that actually happened, right? And as we were discussing those things, we were reaching to conclusions. And talking about conclusions, that is where we are slowly just going on right now. So there's going to be a very good announcement by Omen by HP, and that is where you should actually go to. I mean, just check this out, and this is going to be an incredible one for you guys.
Gaming and eSports are among the fastest growing competitive pursuits in India and globally. It is a stage on which Indian talent has the potential to compete with the globe. As market leaders, we are working towards making the gaming ecosystem more inclusive for everyone and providing a launchpad for budding esports talent in the country. We spoke to esports athletes and ascertained the need for hardware, financial assistance, training. And Omen Gold Quest is our solution. As part of the Omen community program and in line with our philosophy of play to progress, we are glad to announce India's first full-year esports scholarship program in 2021, eSports Gold Quest for 3 people. We will be announcing the process for selection and inviting entries from February 2021, and you can nominate yourself. Best of luck to you in this journey. Stay tuned for details.
So that was an incredible announcement. I look forward to India producing incredible amount of esport athletes that will get the gold for the country, right? If we're just talking about this one. But I think my time as being an imposter for this session is done, and maybe let the actual guy come in and chime in for more of the conversations. I mean, let's just call Abhish, right?
Hi! Did you miss me? Maybe a little bit, right? Ocean's quite good. What is a gaming festival without playing a game in it? The game we're going to play with you today is called Among Us. It's a game that we should definitely go and play. How it works is very simple. All your characters are stuck in a spaceship and you're traveling really fast. You are categorized either as a crewmate or as an imposter. The crewmate's responsibility is to do their task that is again and again coming on their mark, but the imposter's responsibility is to kill all the crewmates. How do you find out if someone is an imposter? This is where the game becomes very interesting. You can call for an emergency meeting, or when you see a dead body, call for an emergency meeting, and then your mics come on. And you gotta discuss with each other why you are not an imposter. Listen, if you're an imposter, you need to convince them that you're a part of the crew. So you're gonna come up with lies, they're gonna question you, you need to blame other people. Basically create a huge controversy in the time given, because within that time you will then vote for each other. And whoever gets the most amount of votes gets thrown out. The crewmates win if they finish all the tasks, the imposters win if you finish up all the crew. As the first suspicious game of the Omen squad, we'll be joined by Ocean, Akshat, 40, BV, Hellranger, Samay, and yours truly. Check out this fun gameplay.
It's Abhish confirmed.
Started. Guys, I have a theory.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a theory. So I found 40's body, and then I found very nicely standing in front of the reactor doing nothing. Though I had to switch it off with somebody else who had come in. So Ocean, it's possible that he went killed and वहाँ के खड़ा हो गया कि
Ocean गेम बंद हो गई होती।
So
Ocean होता तो लोग
Ocean क्या कर रहा था मैं बताता हूँ Ocean क्या कर रहा था। Ocean एक बहुत लंबा वाला टास्क कर रहा है जिसके अंदर आपको एक दबा के एक बार वो करना होता है, दो दबा लाइक दो अलग अलग पैटर्न्स आते हैं, इसमें 5 बार पैटर्न्स आते हैं। Ocean वो टास्क कर रहा था।
I think it's Akshat. ठीक है, I'll tell you why. Because जब हम लोग एडमिन टास्क में थे ना, एडमिन रूम में स्वाइप कार्ड किए, ठीक है, जैसे ही मैं और मेरे पीछे वाला एक और बंदा निकला, 40 एंड अक्षत वर लेफ्ट इन द एडमिन टास्क, हम लोग आगे निकले,
मैं निकला था,
इंस्टेंटली रिएक्टर का ये चालू हो गया, ठीक है, क्या बोलते हैं, रिएक्टर का मेल्टडाउन चालू हो गया, हाँ काउंटडाउन चालू हो गया, एंड देन हम लोग सब तो दिखे वहाँ पे, आई सॉ अक्षत कमिंग इन द लास्ट रिएक्टर के अंदर, एंड देन फिर बाद में डेड बॉडी मिली।
लेट्स वोट अक्षत।
मैं बोलूं,
डू यू हैव समथिंग टू से?
मैं जब वहाँ पे रिएक्टर रूम से जैसे सबसे पहले रिएक्टर रूम में पहुंचा, मैं ऊपर, आप लोग गए, मैं नीचे, मैंने जाके कोड डाला, मैंने जाके उसके अंदर क्लोज किया।
सेकंड कोड डालना ही नहीं था
उसमें तो उंगली लगानी है, वो हाथ नीचे वाला।
आई एम वोटिंग
वोटिंग
What has happened? Why there was no code? What?
रिएक्टर में कोड तो नहीं होता है।
मेरी थियरी सही थी कि नहीं? Let's go.
I think Akshat, just that one extra detail you gave, no, that's what gave it away.
हाँ मैं बताता हूँ क्यों, क्योंकि एडमिन स्वाइप का टास्क रहता है ना, सबने किया, मैं सबको देख रहा था, सबके बाद बार बढ़ा, ठीक है 40 वहाँ पे खड़ा हुआ
मेरे
था।
भाई मेरे से बैड रीड आ रहा है वहाँ पे, मेरे से नहीं हो रहा है, मेरे से माउस नहीं चलता है, मैं नहीं हूँ, मैं फिर बोल रहा हूँ, तुम्हें फिर दुख होगा बाद में। और मैंने तेरे को देखा, मेरे को देखते हुए, मैंने तेरे को देखा, मैं नहीं हूँ, मैं नहीं। और पता है ये हेल रेंजर है, ये हेल, क्योंकि
सुनो ओशन, मैं वहाँ पे
मैं ये बोल रहा हूँ मैं नहीं हूँ।
ओशन हाँ, जब हम उसमें थे, समय और मैं उस रूम में गए थे, समय रेड है और मैं इलेक्ट्रिकल्स कर रहे थे, और सडनली इमरजेंसी मीटिंग से 1 सेकंड पहले ओशन वहाँ पे अपीयर हुआ है, मुझे लगा उसने वेंट किया है।
अरे नहीं, मैं पूरा चल के आऊँ। सी आई टेल यू, मेरे टास्क मैं बताता हूँ, मैं टास्क बताता हूँ। माय टास्क इज फ्रॉम इलेक्ट्रिकल डाइवर्ट द पावर टू O2। तो मैं पहले सीधा उसके अंदर घुसा हूँ, एंड उसके बाद मैंने पहला टास्क 1/2 कंप्लीट किया। 2/2 करने के लिए मैं वापस पीछे आ रहा था, उस टाइम मीटिंग आई। आई वाज नॉट लाइक हाउ कैन आई वेंट मैन।
ये हेल रेंजर है
भाई, वाह सही है,
मेरा नाम लिया।
कर लो, अगर मुझे वोट करना है कर लो।
मैं कर दिया ब्रो,
इस बार स्किप करते हैं यार, इस बार स्किप करते हैं, कोई डेड बॉडी नहीं आई यार।
डेड बॉडी के ऊपर थोड़ी होता है भाई, मैं बता। ठीक
हेल रेंजर है भाई,
यू माइट किल अस। यू
मेरा नाम लेके तूने मेरे को ही
हेल उसने नहीं करा होगा।
मैं फक यू, आई हेट दिस। मैं घर जा रहा हूँ भाई, मेरा ओला करो।
तो देख ले किसने वोट किया तुझे, ठीक है?
देख लिया मैंने, देख लिया
भाई। ओ बच गया 40।
आलसी लोग हैं भाई, अब तक नहीं करा, तो पागल लोग हैं। अरे मर जाएंगे ऐसे ही।
मेरे सामने अविश ने मारा यार, मेरे सामने मारा है अविश ने ओशन को। खून करा है अविश ने।
अविश ही है।
क्या बेशर्मी से मारा है अविश ने।
आई एग्री
अविश मैन एकदम धीरे-धीरे पास आके छुरा मार के चला गया भाई।
Guys,
can't even defend yourself now.
I can't because I saw Samay looking at it and I ran after you to kill you.
सोलो
मार के मेरे पीछे भाग रहा है।
अभी भी 40 still Connors and Hell Rangers था।
भाई मेरे को अभी भी लग रहा है कि 40 था यार।
This was terrible. This was terrible. This was terrible. This was the worst.
Crew's the mates.
Guys, hold on. I have a question.
Yeah.
40, why didn't you report a dead body?
मेरे को पता नहीं, मैं उस पर डबल क्लिक कर रहा था, कैसे करते हैं मेरे को आता नहीं।
मेरे साथ भी यही हुआ था। 40 was with me by the way, so I don't think it is 40.
Okay, so I think it's Samay. I am very such on Samay because
one second.
reactor meltdown.
Body was found right above. यार नीचे वाला क्या होता है? O2 होता है, security होता है, shields होता है, क्या होता है नीचे? 40 कहाँ थे हम?
Bro मेरे को कोई idea नहीं कहाँ थे.
Bottom right.
Communications होता है.
एक सेकंड. I have one question to Ocean. Ocean जब तेरे साथ समय आया वो रूम में, did he do any task?
Yeah, he was swiping cause मेरे को नहीं पता कि टास्क किसी और ने कहीं किया है कुछ because मैं एडमिन का वो चेक कर रहा था and I don't know उसे स्वाइप करके वो ग्रीन बार हल्का सा बढ़ा था but he did not move after that.
हेडस्टैंड मार दूंगा यहाँ पे अभी 10 सेकंड के लिए.
भाई ये क्या होता है?
40 वाली हरकत मत कर.
ये तो डरावनी हो गई.
समय इज सस बिकॉज रिएक्टर मेल्टडाउन हो रहा था और तभी ये इंसान रिएक्टर की तरफ जाने के जगह पे ये मिडवे चले गया.
नहीं मेरे 1% वो रिएक्टर का टास्क नहीं एक सेकंड रिएक्टर का टास्क किसने किया था? आई रिमेंबर वीवी आई थी मैं और कोई कर रहे थे रिएक्टर
मैं और ऊपर कर रहे थे.
हम
ये कर रहे थे ओशन पर.
हाँ हम लोगों ने किया था.
उस समय लिटरली
हमें कैसे नहीं दिखा वो लाल कलर का
सीधा वोट करता है.
ओके समय
क्योंकि वो अभी तक इंपोस्टर नहीं बना है.
आई एम टेलिंग यू आई एम नॉट बिकॉज़ आई डिड अ स्वाइप टास्क विद ओशन वाज देयर ही वाज नियर द एडमिन वो एडमिन में देख रहा था मैंने स्वाइप किया मैं बाहर निकला.
समय यू कैन वेरी वेल फेक.
अरे इज इट
टोटल टास्क बार बढ़ा क्या उस टाइम पे?
मैं बस पूछ रही हूं तुझे तूने नहीं किया
वो समय क्योंकि अभी तक वो इंपोस्टर नहीं बना है उसकी प्रोबेबिलिटी सबसे हाई है.
Nobody is listening to nobody. I have another point to add. I'm also 40 has voted and he was near the body when I discovered it.
It's a vote back. I am बीच को वोट करना चाहता. It's not me.
Guys 10 सेकंड वोट करना है क्या करना है?
मेरे साथ हो रहा है. मैं बोल रहा हूँ ये इसलिए क्योंकि मैं हरियाणा में रहता हूँ मेरे को मालूम है. You all hate me man. You all Mumbai people hate me. I know that.
हरियाणा कश्मीर में टाई हो गया भाई.
Oh my God, हरियाणा कश्मीर.
I forgot to vote जिसकी वजह से ये
पीछे और अभी मेरे आगे. कैंप के सामने खड़ी रहूंगी यहाँ पे. I'm scared of समय. बोलो मत कर. सब लोग आ गए. उस वाले
Entire game I tried to gain your trust.
तू मेरी जान जा रही थी. I was like 40 छोड़ मत मुझे 40 छोड़ने के समय मेरा पीछा कर.
मैं पूरा तेरे साथ था कि नहीं हूँ.
What's up guys? ओशन इतना बड़ा बेशरम था ना वो मुझे सिक्योरिटी कैमरा में मार देता अगर अभीश वहां नहीं होता तो.
अभीश वहां मैं करने वाला था बट पता क्या किया देखा. मैं बताता हूँ मैं सिक्योरिटी वाले रूम में सबसे नीचे का W दबा के रखा और उसके साथ मैंने सैबोटाज किया. अदरवाइज अगर मैं रुक जाता एक जगह सैबोटाज करते हुए तो मैं इजीली वहां पे पकड़ा जाता.
लेकिन आप तुम सारे के सारे मतलब निंजा हो ना. 5 लोग एक ऑक्सीजन ठीक कर रहे हैं दूसरा ऑक्सीजन कोई ठीक नहीं करेगा.
Congratulations to the winner, none other than Ocean Sharma. I mean, what do you expect from someone जो हर दिन casting करता है? He knows how to manipulate us within the game while looking innocent. Ocean, well done. But I shall be playing another one with you very soon. So. Congratulations, Ocean Sharma, for being a really good imposter. But as you've seen throughout the day today, we've seen how gaming is a super vitamin for humanity. Gaming can make you lots of money as a streamer, developer, publisher, owner. There's $160 billion and more. Also, don't forget to follow us because you could be the 5th member of the Omen squad. You could also get your hands on the Omen Crib for an ultimate gaming pad. Or get yourself a scholarship with eSports Gold Quest. It's a great time to be a gamer, and it's an incredible time to be in gaming. My name is Abish Matthew. Thank you so much for watching the Omen FanFest 2020. Let's have some OP in the chat, boys! I'll see you later.